Hi. Yay. Hi. Happy Sunday. Wait, Sunday? Yes, Sunday. Happy Sunday. What is up? Hello. Nice to see you. Can you guys see me? Can you hear me? I hope we don't have any issues today. With StreamYard. My apologies for yesterday. Let me see who's here. I saw Tipsy, Dial-Up Dreamer. Thank you for becoming a new member, girl. Thought you were already a member. But thank you anyways. I appreciate you. I saw Asane. Pantera, you're on time. Killa Swag. Hello, Killa Swag. Hello, Tipsy. Hello, beautiful Augie. I'm so glad you made it. Hello, 𝗟EITG. Yeah. Detention is now in session. We're gonna continue. Hey, Gas Mask. Good to see you. It's always nice to have you here, Gas Mask. Shout out to you. Oh, thanks, Dial-Up Dreamer. Oh, I love you. Thank you, Augie. You're so sweet. Anyways, happy Sunday. We're gonna continue with Mackenzie Shirilla. We have Dominic's mom today. We've been reviewing the interrogation body cam footage. I'm getting close to being done with the body cam stuff. I think I have one more live, and so then I'll start a new case tomorrow, and another one. We're gonna have a couple new cases this week, so I'm really excited about that. And we're gonna continue Jamie calls. I'm working on getting some other calls right now too. I don't want to say too much, but hopefully we have new calls coming in too. So today we're gonna review. I know on the deep dive we had already reviewed some of the sentencing and the verdict, like Mackenzie making her lame ass statement. But I feel like we're going to watch it again tonight. And I feel like it's important to just revisit it before we watch Dominic Russo's mother, Christine, interview with the police regarding Mackenzie Shirilla. So yesterday we watched the part Angelo Russo, which is Dominic's brother, and we heard, a lot of things we didn't know about their relationship and Mackenzie. So like I said, we're going to start with the verdict and then the sentencing, and then we're going to review the interview. It's pretty short. Kill Swag. You all, yeah. Pantera gets detention regardless if he's late or not. Okay, let me know if you guys can see this. This is the verdict. I can't turn it up, so put on earpods or something. Sorry. This is as much as it goes.
Before I render the verdict in the case, I want to thank the attorneys for your professionalism and your advocacy in the case. It's a difficult case for everyone, including the attorneys and your staff.
You're too sweet. Thank you, Pantera. And Gas Mask.
I also want to thank all of the spectators and the media personnel for respecting the trial process. For the families of those involved, I recognize that this
Can you guys hear it?
has been a very stressful
It's not the best. Sorry.
And that stress follows you even when court has ended session. I appreciate that despite that stress, you all worked with me to ensure a safe and respectful environment for everyone here. And although they are not a party to the case, I want to acknowledge the work of first responders to the site of this event. Their diligence and training did save Mackenzie's life. And they tried to save Dominic and Davion, even though they were there too late. In a bench trial, the judge sits as the jury and the finder of fact, as well as the ruler of law. And it is a reminder of just how difficult a job it is to serve as a finder of fact. Whether it's a bench trial or a jury trial, the rules of law are the same. The instructions for weighing credibility and evidence, the admonition to set aside any bias, prejudice.
I have to say I love the judge, and if you're not familiar with the case, Mackenzie unalived her boyfriend and his friend in a car crash going 100 miles per hour. She drove into a brick building. You have to watch part 1 and 2 if you're not caught up.
And the oath to follow
you better watch it
as the law is written. These rules of law are incumbent on every trier of fact. I have done what I am sworn to do. I have carefully and deliberately considered all the evidence in this case, including the testimony of the witnesses, the science, the expert opinions offered, the medical evidence, physical evidence, the photographs, and the video.
Detention.
There is nothing that I can do or say today that will return these 2 young men to their families. There is nothing I can say or do that
I really
will
like
restore
this
Mackenzie
judge.
Shirilla to the life she had before July 31st, 2022. And there is nothing that I can say or do to restore the lives of these three families before the fateful moments on that day. This trial is the culmination of decisions made by one person, the defendant.
Mm-hmm.
Those decisions have forever altered the futures of three families, and of you also, Mackenzie. And your decisions forever robbed Dominic and Davion of the futures that they had before them. If there is one thing that can be taken away from this case, as painful as it is this. Every decision we make is important. Every action we make is important. Regardless of whether the decision is a good one or a bad one, or the actions are good or not, the result
Is she crying? Do I see tears?
The
Do you see tears?
consequences ripple through time and affect many more people than one might think at the time of the decision. In criminal cases, the state carries the greatest burden under our law, proof beyond a reasonable doubt. As I previously stated, I considered all the evidence presented. And at this point, I would like to comment specifically on Exhibit 802, the crash video. This is the type of evidence you can never unsee.
Crocodile
You can
tears.
never forget the visual or audio of this exhibit, which is chilling and tragic.
I don't
As
know
you
how I feel
review
about
that
this.
exhibit, you know that you are watching the oncoming deaths of two people, and there is nothing that will stop it. The video clearly shows the purpose and intent of the defendant. She chose a course of death and destruction that day. Exhibit 802 crystallizes the deadly decision-making of the defendant. She morphs from a responsible driver to literal hell on wheels.
Hell on
She makes
wheels.
her way down the street. Mackenzie alone made the decision to drive the car, to drive an obscure route, a route she visited a few days before, and a route not routinely taken by her. Mackenzie alone chose the time to make the drive early in the morning, when any reasonable person would expect that few people would be nearby to witness it or offer life-saving assistance. She made these decisions despite knowing, as any reasonable person would, that her mission of death could have involved others, not even in the car with her, other people, other cars, pedestrians. She had a mission, and she executed it with
I don't buy it.
precision. The mission was death. Mackenzie alone decided to push the pedal to the floor and demand the ultimate speed of that vehicle to 90 to 100 miles per hour. She alone decided what was to be. Mackenzie decided death was the ultimate goal that day, and she alone made that decision for Dominic and Davion, and she continuously acted in a manner to achieve her purpose. Whether or not she intended to also kill herself is a matter of speculation. They have no relevance to the weight of the evidence in this case. The totality of the evidence clearly demonstrates that Mackenzie Shirilla acted purposely and intentionally in the early morning hours of July 31st, 2022. And her purpose was to kill Dominic Russo and Davion Flanagan. No reasonable fact
I'm uncomfortable.
the totality of this evidence in this case can come to any other conclusion. Her actions were controlled, methodical, deliberate, intentional, and purposeful. This was not reckless driving. This was murder.
Murder.
Court renders the following verdicts. Count 1. The court, having had count 1 tried to it pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of murder, to wit Dominic Russo, in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.02A, as charged in count 1. Count 2. The court, having had count 2 tried to it pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of murder, to wit Davion Flanagan, in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section.
That was very dramatic, right? They had to like handcuff her right then and there.
Count 3, murder. The court, having had count 3 tried to it pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of murder, to wit Dominic Russo, in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.02B, as charged in count 3.
Wow.
Count 4, murder. The court, having had count 4 tried to it pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of murder, to wit Dominic Russo, in violation of 𝗟𝗲 Code Section 2903.02b, is charged in count 4. Count 5, felonious assault.
Wow.
The court, having had count 5 tried to it pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of felonious assault, to wit Dominic Russo, in violation of 𝗟𝗲 Code Section 2903.11 of the revised code, is charged in count 5 of the indictment.
Now
Count
she's
6,
crying
felonious
for
assault.
herself.
The court, having had count 6 tried to it pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of felonious assault, to wit Dominic Russo, in violation of 𝗟𝗲 Code Section 2903.11a2, is charged in count 6. Count 7, felonious assault. The court, having had count 7 tried to it pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla,
I know you're
guilty of
wondering why there's
felonious
so many
assault,
charges.
to wit Davion Flanagan, in violation of 𝗟𝗲 Code Section 2903.11a1, as charged in count 7. Count 8, felonious assault. The court, having had count 8 tried to it pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of felonious assault.
Look at the mom.
Davion Flanagan.
We know how I feel. We're gonna watch her in a minute.
Code Section 2903.11.
Someone tell her I'm coming for her. Okay, so you're wondering why was there so many charges when there was only 12 or 2 deaths? There was 12 counts. My apologies. 4 counts of murder, 4 counts of felonious assault, 2 counts of aggravated vehicular homicide, 1 count of possessing criminal tools, and then 1 count of drug possession, which was the magic mushrooms, and the criminal tools was a digital scale. I believe they found 2 cell phones on her. I know she had a bunch of weed on her. Trying to think if I'm missing anything else, but yeah, I don't know why they charged her that way, to be honest. I'm not a professional in law. I'm just here to report true crime, but yeah, 4 counts of murder from what I hear, and so it was like 12 altogether, I believe. So this is almost over, and then we're going to move on to the sentencing, where we're going to hear from her mom.
Count 9.
She's seriously in disbelief. I'm in disbelief.
Having had count 9 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of aggravated vehicular homicide, to wit Dominic Russo, in violation of 𝗟𝗲 Code Section 2903.06a2a, is charged in count 9. Count 10, aggravated vehicular homicide. The court, having had count 10 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of aggravated vehicular homicide, to wit Davion Flanagan, in violation of 𝗟𝗲 Code Section 2903.06a2a, is charged in count 10. Count 11, drug possession. The court, having had count 11 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of drug possession, in violation of 𝗟𝗲 Code Section 2925.11a, is charged in count 11. Count 12, possessing criminal tools. The court, having had count 12 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of possessing criminal tools, in violation of 𝗟𝗲 Code Section 2923.24a, is charged in count 12. The court, having had count 12 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of possessing criminal tools, and further finds the defendant did intend to use a substance, device, instrument, or article, to wit the digital scale, to commit the offense of a felony. Sentencing will be 1 week from today, August 21st at 1 p.m. If any party wishes to file a sentencing memorandum, it is to be filed by 4 p.m. on Thursday, August 17th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was the verdict. We're gonna watch the sentencing, and then we're gonna move on to the interview with her, or Dominic's mom. Sorry, my apologies. She looks young, and she's not acting like her bad self there, right? Like in all these other pictures on the PowerPoint, she's like smoking the joints, jumbo joints. I'm pulling it up. We're gonna pull it up. There she is, right there. This is on part 1. We go into details about all of this. We're gonna watch some of that TikTok too. By the way, TikTok be coming after me when I show some of their stuff on here. I'm not trying to be very nice. So yeah, if you want to know about this PowerPoint, we review it in part 1 on the deep dive. This is Dominic, one of the victims, and I did just want to mention, I always mention it on my lives, but we do want to keep in mind the victims, Dominic and Davion, who were victims to this horrific crime. Although we review body cam footage, it's very personal. We're going to show the mom when she finds out about Dominic in just a second. I'm not going to show all of it. It's like a 40-minute video. I'm going to show like 2 minutes of it, just maybe 5 when she gets the news. I think it's personal, but I think it's important, and it was through FOIA with Plunder. So we're just going to review a little bit of it, but this is Dominic on the screen, and then which was Mackenzie's boyfriend, and then this is Davion, their friend. We talk about the controversy and all the court information, etc. on Deep Dive Part 1. So if you are not caught up with the case, make sure you watch it. This is the sentencing now.
Is everybody ready? So
You're fine, Augie.
Before we get started.
It's way past my bedtime. I'm glad you're here, Augie. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys for being here. Get ready to, we're going to see
There
Mom
will be no in and out of the courtroom.
give a statement.
Once the proceedings begin,
You know who I'm talking about.
if you do leave, you will not be permitted. Today is an emotional and stressful day for 3 families.
I'm not a fan.
And for the defendant, and for those who care for
That's just my opinion.
Dominic, and Mackenzie. I expect everyone here to be respectful of everyone who's in the room. And if there is any disruptive behavior, I will pause the proceedings.
Yeah, they tried to say that I was like doing something wrong. I don't know, kills flag, but I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I took care of it, but it's all good. We're gonna see that same clip tonight, though. Shout out YouTube Street. What's up? Good to see you.
The court's process will be as follows. I will
The
hear first from
sentencing.
the state and the representatives of any of the victims. The court will then hear from the defense and any representatives who wish to speak. The defendant has a constitutional right not to speak. She has exercised
We do hear
that
her
right
speak,
not to speak
and it
at
pisses me
trial,
off.
and that right continues throughout this proceeding. She will be afforded the opportunity to speak if she wishes, but that's her choice. Following that portion, the court will deliver the sentence.
I hope you're all
I
wearing
also
your
want to
underwear.
advise the defendant that she has a right to an appeal and a transcript at state's expense, and we will assign counsel to represent you. Counsel, we have previously discussed and agreed to the following: that the only counts for which the court will sentence today as a matter of law are counts.
I want you guys to know when she was in the hospital, she asked the police, she was like, can you just take my license for 10 years, sir? Can you take it, please? I'm like, girl, what are you even saying? Like, no, you're going to jail. So she did ask that, yeah. And we're going to see her, that behavior here in the statement. I'm not trying to be mean, but
Of Ohio Revised Code Section
whoa.
2903.02.
Oh no, I'm not
Count
trying to be a
1 being
mean
the
girl.
murder of Dominic Russo.
I'm sorry.
Count 2 being the murder of Davion.
Probably not sorry.
Each of these counts are statutory sentences. Each is 15 years to life with parole eligibility after the base term is served, and with parole strictly within the discretion and jurisdiction of the Ohio Parole Board. Each of these counts stands separate and apart from each other, and
I've had
can
enough
be
of
run either
Mackenzie.
concurrently or consecutively. That is the only discretion permitted
Hello,
to the
Ernie.
court in the sentencing today.
Good to see you.
It is my understanding that we are also in agreement of the following mergers. As to the guilty verdicts against the defendant related to the victim,
Really like the judge.
Dominic Russo, the counts 3, 5, 6, and 9 merge into count 1. As to the guilty verdicts
get that.
against the defendant related to the victim, Davion Flanagan, the counts 4, 7, 8,
We need Peter Tragos. Do you know what I mean?
and 10
Where you
are
know?
merged into count 2.
We need him.
That the 𝗍𝗵𝗿𝗲 enhancement and post-release control are not applicable to either count 1 or 2. Is
Explain.
that a correct statement?
That's accurate, Your Honor.
Correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. I do wish to proceed on counts 11 and 12. It's my understanding on these two felonies of the 5th degree that both sides are waiving any argument. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is she waiving any statement on counts 11 and 12?
As to those two counts, yes.
No crocodile tears here.
Defendant is sentenced in counts 11 and 12, each of which is a felony of the 5th degree, to 7 months in prison on each count to be served concurrent to each other with credit for time served. Fines and costs are waived. As to the driver's license suspension for counts 9 and 10, the aggravated
It's
vehicular
suspended for life,
homicide,
by the way, not 10
the
years. You
driver's
can get it.
license is suspended for life.
There you go.
I'm now prepared to hear from anybody who would like to speak on behalf of the state.
Oh, Philip. Good to see you. Thank you for your comment. I appreciate that. Differing
Could you start
opinions
with
are
your
accepted
name?
here. Absolutely.
Speak up and speak slowly.
Yes, Your Honor, my name is Jamie Flanagan. I am the mother of the victim, Davion
Davion's
Flanagan.
mom.
I want to share a small part of what we lost on
It's a little sad.
7/21. I'm sorry,
I hope y'all brought your
7/31,
little blankies and your
2022.
tissues.
My son Davion is and always will be so much more than cargo. He was precious. He was an amazing soul with a heart of gold. He gave to the world what he wanted most in his own life: love. The kind of love that would rescue a friend in the middle of the night, no questions asked. The kind that would protect others and honor them. He made friends easily with his infectious smile. He was a gifted athlete. He had plans to go to barber school and open his own shop. My son did not have a clique of friends, but instead was a friend to all. He would go out of his way
sweet.
to show love and kindness to others, including those that were often cast aside by society, the less fortunate, the developmentally challenged, the hurting, and the unvalued. Davion made sure that everyone that crossed his
Part
path
1 has more about
knew
Davion
that
and
he truly saw
Dominic.
them,
It's
that
worth
he
watching,
valued
I believe.
them, and that they were worth his time. Davion and my kids have had more than their fair share of heartbreak, of hardship, and of loss. Davion was adopted with his sisters from foster care. They are biological siblings. We
Sad.
are honored to be chosen, or to have been chosen, to be their parents. They're forever family. I am devastated by the loss of Davion. The world lost a truly special man. My girls lost
I agree.
their
Audrey.
best friend, their protector, the one and only trusted family that has been by their side from day one. This alone, or he alone, understands the pain and loss that they have gone through and was always there for them. This fact alone breaks my heart for my girls, for my family.
Thank you.
So many dreams
That's for me.
shattered, a future
I appreciate
stolen.
that.
We will never get to see the amazing man that he was surely to become. His life was precious. Like I said, he was so much more than cargo.
Because they were
pray
saying he was collateral
daily for
damage.
strength
We've heard
and
that, right?
perseverance for myself and for my
documentation.
family. I also
Good.
pray that Mackenzie will find true remorse in her heart and true repentance. We thank all of those that worked so hard to help us bring justice for our son. We are forever thankful. Davion, we miss you terribly, but as Christians, we grieve with hope. We will make sure your memory lives
I know.
on, and we
Sorry.
ache for the
I want to
day
get
that
sad
we are
tonight.
united again in eternity.
I feel like we should hug and kiss.
Thank you.
Yeah? You're like, whoa. Whoa. Chill out, Millie. I don't know if I could do that. I think I'd be angry giving a statement.
Hello, could you start with your name?
Hi, Your Honor. My name is Davion Flanagan.
She's so cute.
Davion was my older brother. The passing of Davion Markel Flanagan has been very difficult for me. We have gone through everything together since day one. Davion was a big brother to me and my younger sister, Delia. We all got adopted together in 2012. After Davion passed away, a lot of trauma and past pain has came into my life, causing it to be difficult to heal from this trauma event, or this traumatic event. Davion was not just a big brother to me, but a role model in many ways. He was the person I trusted the most because he made me feel safe. He taught me the importance of cherishing each moment and enjoying life. The memories we have are strong, but losing him has shown me the value of life. He has how God works in ways you can't understand, but is worth it in the end. I don't want this pain for anyone else. I don't want people to have to go through this. As an 18-year-old, I hate the fact that he has gone because someone decided to take his life. Now that Davion is gone,
Oh, no.
I feel stuck. I feel as if I can't move forward. I feel lost.
Look at her.
He was the one who picked me up when I fell.
I was about to
He
get
was
stabbed,
my
but then I
best
saw her
friend
and I was
the
like,
only person that has stayed with me since I was born. I would like you to give Mackenzie the longest possible sentence. I've known her for about
hello?
3 years, and as she's always taken the easy way out. You shouldn't be able to take the easy way out when it
Hey,
comes
Diddy
to
Kong.
murder. It's completely unfair that no
you.
matter what sentence you give her, she will be eligible for parole, while my brother will be gone forever. Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm just waiting for Mackenzie to come up here so I can talk my shit. No, I'm really here to just, if you missed out on this, I do want you to see it if you've been following the case. That's absolutely true. But my feelings better. Not trying to be mean. Chill out. Okay, this is Dominic's mother. Okay, wait, pause. This is Dominic's mother. We're gonna watch her interview next, the body cam footage of her interview.
This should be a murder.
Police.
Or to punish
After this.
Mackenzie Shirilla for this
And when she
accident.
gets the news, they come to her house.
But this
and
was
tell
not
her.
a car accident.
Ugh.
The evidence and science proved that Mackenzie Shirilla murdered my son, Dominic, as well as Davion. There's no fix put in this case.
She was 17 at the time of the crime.
To proclaim.
She turned 18 2 days later.
Thank
on August
Strongsville Police
2nd.
Department and the state of Ohio for seeking the truth behind this
happened July
crash.
31st.
Thanks to them, we all know what happened in that car that day. What we don't know is why. I wish I could change this every day. I lost 3 children in that crash. Not a minute goes by each day that I don't think about my son, as well as Davion. My heart is forever broken. The cries heard from the Shirilla family and friends after the verdict are nothing more than a lack of remorse. Mackenzie Shirilla had a choice. Dom and Davion did not. We are all left here to mourn. But what Dominic and Davion lost can never be remedied in any way or by any particular sentence. July 31st, 2022, I called Mackenzie's mother, hysterical with the loss of my son and Davion.
You guys are going to see this footage. It's
I knew
brutal.
Mackenzie was in the hospital, and the first statement said to me was,
I almost didn't want to
"Oh,
play
please
it.
don't listen to what everyone's saying on
We'll
Facebook."
play it.
Yeah, my son is dead, his friend is dead, and I'm checking on yours. Yet social media is what's important. Social media has made a game out of the life of Mackenzie and is making a game out of this heart-wrenching tragedy.
So the whole social media comes into play because when she was in the hospital after the death of these 2 young males, she was looking up modeling gigs on Instagram. Yeah. She was like on there. She was like, I got some pictures. Let me show you. Yeah. Yeah. So it was very, very rude, very unthoughtful. Is that a right word? But anyways, don't come for me. But yeah, so, and then we see TikToks, right, in the deep dive of her talking about drugs, and she won't die from using drugs, and talks all this shit on there. And it's very inappropriate and it's so distasteful. And so rude to the families who have lost their son and their brother and their best friend. And so we're going to see a little bit of that
You can imagine the pain
from the
of
TikTok.
losing a child, unless they have lost
Hey,
one
Glitter.
themselves. The pain is
Here you
forevermore.
go.
Time does not heal this wound. Mackenzie, going to prison because you did this. Be thankful that you're still alive and have a future, whatever that may be. Dom and Davion were robbed of their futures, their hopes, and their dreams.
Yeah, she was
Mackenzie showed no
17.
mercy on
Mackenzie
Dominic,
was 17.
nor did she on
Dominic
Davion.
20. Davion was 19.
Only God at this
Time
time
of the
can have
crash.
mercy on her soul. Thank you.
That's who we're going to hear from on the body cam footage next. We know Mackenzie was very toxic, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think, but I know a lot of you in the comments in the chat are like, absolutely. I'm doing a deep dive on someone else involved in this case
Yes.
too, so stay tuned.
Should my name? Is there a microphone or anything? My name is Angelo Russo. I'm one of Dominic's,
This is the interview we heard
brothers.
last night.
and I'm speaking today for myself and also on the
My
behalf
opinions
of
about
our
that now.
siblings
I slept on it. I did.
and our friends. Sorry. Dom may have been young, but he made the most of each day and had an impact on the lives of his friends and his family. Dom was a businessman, an athlete, a song producer, and an entrepreneur. Dom was not only my brother, he was also my best friend, and the friends in this courtroom also say Dom was their best friend. Many of my brother's interests and goals were centered on learning more about himself and how he could become a better person. He was always doing what he could to learn about others, how he could understand different situations, different cultures, and how he could better the community. He read from various authors every day and even recommended to me countless books that have made me a better person and helped me understand the world better. A few months before he passed, he told me that he soon planned on joining a branch of the military. Admittingly, I was against this, but he felt the need to not only serve the community, but also his country. He gave me countless advice, and he also helped with anything and everything.
This is Angelo
Nothing
Russo,
said
the
or done
interview
here
we heard
today
yesterday.
can
Dominic,
describe the
brother,
loss
the guy who got
or repair
killed.
our lives after
dating
this
Mackenzie.
tragedy. Kenzie's statement in the hospital to Detective 𝗍, "Can't you just take my license away for 10 years or something?"
Oh.
That statement
There
is
we go.
Mackenzie Shirilla, the most selfish person I know. Ironically,
I agree with that.
Dom was the most selfless person I know. Mackenzie Shirilla murdered Dom and Davion in cold blood and had already moved on. Kenzie killed Dom over the thought of losing him, and she made Davion collateral damage. She was driving, going to concerts, and dressing up for Halloween. No thoughts of the
We saw
families and
that.
lives that she had destroyed.
She was a weed plant.
As I said, Dom read a book every day. He started 2 companies. He recorded his own music as well as recording music with myself and with friends. Dom helped anyone who ever needed a hand. He was an inspiration to everyone who had the honor of meeting Dominic. We love you, Dom. We love you, Davion. And God bless the both of you. Thank you so much.
Shot.
Mr. Troop, before you speak, have you marked the letters as exhibits to be part of the record?
I have, Your Honor.
And any objection from Mr. McDonald?
No, Your Honor,
And have you marked your letters?
I have.
Okay, if you would give those both to the clerk. Go ahead.
Your Honor, there's very little that I can say
This is
after
good.
hearing from those
This is
who
where the
love
TikTok-
Dominic and Davion. In
They try to
regards to the
contact me.
impact that the defendant's conduct had on these
TikTokers.
families' lives. And we have received a
Very
series of letters that has been submitted on behalf of the defendant. In summarizing these, they describe her as a good student and a loving and caring person, and that she could never do something like this. And they continually, despite the verdict, refer to this as an accident, an unfortunate accident, and tell you that she is also a victim. And there are just a few things that I think is important for the court to consider in determining a sentence today. Part of the evidence in this case and introduced in trial was evidence from the defendant's cell phone. There were search warrants executed on her various social media accounts, her school records, her medical records, things of this nature. And I think that who she actually was is directly contradictory to what is painted by the letter submitted on behalf of her today.
I feel like I need some wine for this. Are you ready for Mackenzie?
Do we know how to make the video? One moment, Your Honor.
Oh, Edith, thank you for being a member for 1 month. I appreciate you. Good to see you. I don't know. I had my opinions about it at first. I was trying to be very considerate of Mackenzie, maybe it being an accident. Maybe she had mental health issues. I do think she had mental health issues. I don't know. I do think it was intentional. Oh no.
I'm not even cool. I'm just one of those girls that can do a lot of drugs and not die.
I know I rewinded it in the
Do
last.
a lot of drugs and not die.
She said this on the TikTok like a couple days after Dominic passed away. I thought it was very rude.
I'm not even cool. I'm just one of those girls that can do a lot of drugs and not die.
I'm just one of those girls that can do a lot of drugs and not die.
Gotta figure like a pin, gotta figure like a doll. Don't care if you think I'm dumb, I don't care at all. Can't best sweetie if I wanna be a doll.
I didn't do anything.
I'm the girl you die for.
Objection, Judge. None of this is introduced.
It's just a state, proving that she's gross.
Shortly
Allegedly,
after
my opinion only.
the crash, Strongsville police were notified that they had received concerning emails from the
Just
community
for you, Edith.
that the defendant and her mother were seeking employment with the Los Angeles modeling agency. Mackenzie Shirilla said to Vitaly, "Thank you for the comment. I would love to work with you guys. I've been emailing you guys a lot. Such a great opportunity. Thank you."
Is there a date?
This was in the hospital. She was in the hospital after the crash, and she was working on getting an Instagram gig.
There is not a date on this.
They thought it was very
based
like
on the investigation. It was delivered to the police while the defendant was still in the Metro Health Hospital. So it was during that time period.
And
she
it was
in
a
the
mental
hospital
health
for several
hospital.
weeks. Shortly after being released from the hospital, the police were provided additional videos of the defendant from her wheelchair as she attended a concert down in the Flats. And again, Your Honor, I'm introducing these to the court to show the shocking lack of remorse. This was something that was being exhibited while the investigation was still going on, before she was charged and arrested in November of last year. And these were the sort of things that were coming to the police, and the shocking lack of remorse, coupled with the fact that the defendant was reported driving an automobile shortly after this event.
So she wasn't supposed to drive. She was at a concert in a wheelchair. She was making some post about whatever you just saw.
Was seen in Strongsville again driving a car.
Not very
In spite of the
remorseful, in
fact
my
that, as her
opinion.
mother testified, she got dizzy sometimes from a
But
condition
whatever.
that she had to take salt pills for.
She's super young.
In spite of the fact
Not
that it
what
was in fact her
testifies
mother
it.
who provided her with the car that she used to take Dominic and Davion's life. Halloween of last year, again, still before being charged, Mackenzie Shirilla celebrated Halloween with her friends at 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗲.
This is when she dressed up like a weed plant. Melly goes to TikTok, deletes everything.
She got dizzy sometimes from a condition that she had to take salt pills for.
We're gonna watch that again.
Despite the fact that it was in fact her mother
Logging
who
into Instagram,
provided
deleting
her
everything
with the
that's
car
ever
that
been
she
posted on there.
used to take Dominic and Davion's life. Halloween of last year, again, still before being charged,
I did actually do
Mackenzie
that.
Shirilla celebrated Halloween with her friends at
That was like
Judge, can I just make one continued objection?
Sure.
I think it's like 2 months after the crash. Oh boy. She dressed up as a corpse.
Are these
No?
posts?
These aren't Halloween of last year, so these would be post-crash, just before she was charged in November.
Absolutely not. I'm an adult, but I come from a background with my parents. If I dressed up as a weed plant, showed up to their house where I usually celebrate Halloween, absolutely I'd be in trouble. Yeah, I would be in trouble. I know you're shocked. You're shocked. I'm such a rebel up here. Well, in my life, I am a rebel. But yeah, no, I'm not gonna dress up as a weed plant. She's gross. Go to jail. Her and Jamie would be a good fight. Jamie and Sarah Boone, too. Sarah Boone should just join it. Join this club.
We think the defendant has shown a shocking lack of remorse, Your Honor.
I don't know. Maybe this year I'll dress up as
We
one and
think
then
that she
come on here and show
has
y'all.
continually put forward that this was an accident, in spite of the fact that the evidence is in direct contradiction. Your Honor,
come
you
for
were
me?
on Progress Drive. You saw the evidence that was
Business.
displayed in court. And Your Honor, we think that you are the person who is in the best position to decide an appropriate
Good
sentence.
one.
We have full confidence in the sentence that you'll give her. Thank you.
She got 15 years to life with possibility of parole after 15 years, obviously. Wait, it bothers me. She got 15 to life with possibility of parole after 15 years. She unalived 2 people in the horrific crash that we saw. I can pull up the clip if you need a little refresher. But Jamie got 25 years for Samantha Miller. I'm not considering it any less of importance, but I feel like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Shouldn't Mackenzie have got more? Like, what does it matter that she was 17? She got tried as an adult. So therefore, why is Jamie getting 25 for 1 death, but Mackenzie's getting 15 for 2? Will she get parole? I hope not, but I think like it might be possible, especially if she behaves while she's in there, right? We know how that works. That's just my opinion though. Here we go. I should go get my wine. This is the mom, Mackenzie's mom.
Can you start with your name? My name is Natalie Shirilla.
Jamie was
I
drunk.
just want to say, am I allowed to address them at all?
I don't know. This was
I just
intentional.
want to say to
Tomato,
the families
tomato.
that I'm broken, sad, and lost, and my heart hurts for everyone. Okay, Davion was her new friend, and Dom
No,
was the
don't
love of her life, and he was part
lady.
of our family. Okay, I'm just so
Ďarby.
sorry that this happened, and we're heartbroken. Okay, and then, Your Honor, this was a terrible, tragic nightmare accident to have happened that she has no memory of, and she will never emotionally or physically recover from it. She almost died too, and we're asking that you please not run the sentence as consecutive. He was family, and we all loved each other. That morning of the accident, she called. I got a phone call that there was a car accident. Okay, so we went to the hospital, and I didn't even know who was in the car. The names had not been confirmed yet, and I'm going to cry because I missed Dom so much. We loved him so much. So I called Dom, like over and over again, praying that he was going to answer the phone, and he didn't answer the phone. So then I tried to call his mom, and she didn't answer the phone either. And I still didn't know who was in the car. I didn't even know if she was alive. I didn't know what was happening. So then we were in the waiting room. And then his mom she did call me. So I answered the phone and I was like, oh my God, like, I don't even know who was in the car. Like, what's happening? Was that Dom? And she said, what do you mean? My son is dead. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And then she said something like, and now I have to wait until your kid's out of the hospital. And then I didn't hear the rest. I was like, we loved him so much. And I hung up the phone. I did not talk about social media. I didn't even know what was going on yet. Okay.
Ma'am.
So
Ma'am, the state just showed it in the evidence. Ma'am, we saw the Instagram post. Someone tell her she's lying. Why is she lying? Why is she lying to everyone?
So then that was it. So in the hospital, that vitality post,
no.
I commented on that because somebody had called her a murderer. Okay. And she's not a murderer. So she didn't even have her phone at that point because the police had still had it. Okay. So I jumped on and I was like, you know, she's not a murderer. She's more sad than most of these people commenting. She's been trying to get in touch with you. I mean, at that point, it was just an accident. So I commented on her behalf, not because of the modeling opportunity. Who cares about that? I don't want them.
Who cares about that? But you're doing it while she's in the mental hospital. Mom.
To refer to her as a murderer, okay? And I don't even know how that commented got on the phone because the police still had her device.
I don't care. Do what
She
you
could
want
not
on
access the
Instagram,
phone
but don't be
or
up here
social media.
lying.
That's why I did
The
it.
judge.
And
The audacity.
I had called them asking if they could shut down social media because people were calling her a murderer and making death threats and organizing groups to, you know, take her out when she got out of the hospital and stuff. So I don't even want her phone. I don't care about her phone. I don't care about social media. I just wanted them to stop calling her a murderer so that when she did come to, and she did come out of surgery, multiple surgeries, that she wouldn't see all these people calling her a murderer because she would never, ever, ever murder the love of her life. Okay. Halloween, for 3 months after the accident.
Why is she being
would
so
only wear
like
his clothes.
aggressive?
She would only eat the snacks.
She's like
he
pointing
ate.
her finger.
She would only listen to the music he wrote. Okay. She was laying in bed for 3 months crying. There was a shrine of him next to her with photos and things that he liked and this flower that lights up that he got her because he wanted it to be fresh and alive forever. It's like a little Beauty and the Beast flower. Okay, she's got this shrine of him next to her. So she was crying for 3 months. So her friends asked if she wanted to go out trick-or-treating or Halloween. And it was at OU. And she didn't even want to go. She said, I don't know, should I go? She couldn't even walk yet, barely.
But she went to the
So I told
concert.
her, I said, baby, please go.
And she was okay.
It's Halloween. You've been laying for 3 months crying, only listening to his music. Please go have just a moment of fun. A moment of fun. So we told her to go. My husband drove her. I brought her back home. She just needed a second of fun from losing her whole world. Her whole world. So that was us. We told her to go. And that concert she went to with Dom's cousin, Abby, they picked her up. They brought her there. That was Dom, Mackenzie and Dom and Abby all decided to go to this concert together.
We told her to go. She only went because we told her to go. Okay, so then she wasn't genuine about being remorseful and taking time off and et cetera, et cetera. If you made her go as a parent, then she's being phony up there, right? When she does her statement, which you're going to see next.
While they were in the hospital, that was for Dom. Everything she did after the accident was either in honor of him, to be close
I'm ready
to
to
him,
mud wrestle
or
someone.
just be by him any way that she can. She's like devastated and tragic. He was the air that she breathes. Okay, and they went with.
I know
his
people
cousin.
grieve differently. I understand
we
that
spent all kinds
concept.
of time with him after the accident.
I'm not ignorant.
What was the other thing?
I'm hearing an awful lot about your daughter. I'm not hearing very much about the 2 dead people.
Dominic, okay, I'm asking you for a leniency because this.
Apparently, I'm not the only one feeling the same way, Miss Ma'am Judge up there.
We don't.
Thank you, Pantera.
He's a new friend. I'm so sorry.
Does that mean
remember.
his life is worthless?
No. God, no, not at all. They all
What do
loved
you
each
say,
other. They
Judge?
all spent every day together. You know what I mean? I don't know
And
too
isn't
much
that
for
part
him.
of the problem, Mrs. Shirilla?
Sorry?
Isn't that part of the problem, that they all trusted each other? Isn't that part of?
It's not a problem at all. It was
It's a problem
wonderful.
how they all ended up in the car together and two of them ended up dead.
She's an
I
enabler.
understand. I understand what it looks like. I'm
If she likes the
saying that
magic
it was a tragic
mushrooms, all she
accident.
has to do is
would
just
never-
say
We're gonna
it.
have to disagree on that.
I understand.
We're not going to judge her for
Respect
that.
the position.
We're judging her now
I understand.
because she's up
But
here
anyway, like I
lying.
said, I just wanted to address those.
We
We
saw
told
the
her to
body
go to
cam
those
footage.
things, and then she did
And
go
the-
with Dom's family. So look at
the
that.
state's
Don't look at it
evidence.
with the, look on that with different eyes if you can, please.
This is, that, those
Different
things are not
eyes.
relevant.
Not at all. Not at all.
Am I supposed to
Not
take
at
mine
all.
out and
But
get new
she's a
ones
good-
to look
if
at
you-
this in a
if you
different
have a
light?
moment, all you would need is 5 minutes of a conversation to have with her to learn who she is. Just that you would just need 5 minutes to learn who she is and what she's capable of not doing and doing, and you would see for yourself. That's all. I'm so sorry, guys.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I love you.
I love you. She says to Mackenzie. I can't. I can't do this.
Is there anyone else?
I would like Mackenzie to address the court.
Mackenzie, you don't have to speak if you
You
don't
ready?
want to. It's up to you.
Oh, Judge, I
You
would
can
love
sit
to
if
come
it's
up there and
more
speak.
comfortable, whatever's better for you.
Mm-hmm.
The families of Dom and Davion, I'm so deeply sorry. I hope one day you can see I would never let this happen or do it on purpose. I wish I could remember what happened. I'm just so sorry. I'm heartbroken. I love Dom and Davion. We were all friends and Dom was my soulmate. I wish I could take all your pain away, and I'm so sorry. And to my family, thank you for the support and all the love you guys give. Thank you for fighting for me. I love you all so much. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, we did. We covered this. The I love you so much. Okay, I'm done. I'm done, Judge. I'm done. Thank you. Like 1 second. They were in a very toxic relationship. We do know that from the information we've seen before. Her putting her hands on him. We saw the video footage of her trying to threaten him to key his car. We heard Angelo Russo's story yesterday about how toxic they were. And we're going to hear from the mom in a second on the body cam footage. But I feel like I want to watch that again because
We
I'm.
were all friends and Dom was my soulmate. I wish I could take all your pain away.
Oh, Pantera, my love.
And to my
Thank you.
family, thank you for
I
the
appreciate you.
support and all the love you guys give. Thank you for fighting for me. I love you all so much. I'm done. Thank you.
All right, I'm done. I'm done, Judge. Send me to jail
Anything else from the defense?
If I could address the court, Judge.
where I have to take
Your Honor,
cold
may it
showers and it
please the
smells like
court.
piss.
First of all, I'd like to extend my condolences to the Russo and Flanagan family. I can't imagine how difficult this is.
I know.
It's
Forgive me.
terrible.
I'm gonna have to clip that out. I don't want
People's
to be up here
acts have
being aggressive and
consequences.
shit.
And the consequences here are up to you. You have a range of possibilities as it relates to a girl who was 17 at the time, who is now 19
young.
years old and has no criminal record. And as you
17
so
or 19,
correctly pointed
That's
out
still a little
in
shit.
the opening, the decision when she gets out is up to the parole board. And we know how the parole board operates.
Thank you, Pantera. I appreciate
And we
you.
know that everybody gets flopped at least once. So a 15-year sentence becomes a 20-year sentence at minimum. And it'll be up to this young lady here as to how she's going to conduct herself for the next 20 years or whatever the sentence would be. That would be number one.
Coloring book.
Second of all, I'd like to say
According
thank
to
you so
Jamie.
much for allowing and taking the time to read those letters. And I would like to concentrate on the letters from the people from juvenile court. First of all, Miss Smith and Miss Kent. They have been the people who have monitored
I like when you
her
like
progress since she was
what they have to
entered
say
the
about it.
juvenile detention facility, where she was for about 9 months.
You need to listen.
And I would like to commend them for
Not our
writing these
opinions
letters, because
either.
ultimately, or
Are
initially,
we taking
I
it?
tried to have them send a letter, and the people at juvenile court wouldn't let them. And so they sent these letters anyways. And what do we see from their letters? We actually see where both of them say that she expressed remorse during the time. What the prosecutor played there was after the accident and way before she was ever incarcerated. They also both say that
So
they
she was on
observed
social
her
media.
grow as a person, that she's taken every single class possible, both culinary and
Oh, Mary
college,
D. Hello.
that she's actually been a model inmate, the letters say, and that she
Model
has
inmate.
exhibited what they call the highest level of behavior. They
Model
grade
inmate?
people 1, 2, 3, 4. The better your behavior, the higher the number.
I didn't look
She
that up.
has always received the highest number. She's also been receptive to counseling,
Good to
and
see you,
as
Mary.
Ms.
I'm glad you
Kemp
made it.
said, she has been making amends. I'd ask you to pay special attention to the letter from Kelly Leitner that I think
How dare you're always on timeout.
talks about certain things. She cites
After
certain
those
things.
the TikToks, I don't
She
really
did,
care.
Ms. Leitner's asking you to
Sure.
consider that the brain is not fully developed until 25 years of
true.
age or older.
So
Her choices, Mackenzie's, and actions are indicative of teenage invincibility. While
maybe she had
based on her
multiple
decision,
personality
you don't
disorder.
find that. I find that
Like
there are, I
bipolar
remember when I
disorder?
was young, the dumbest things I ever did, and I'd hate to be judged for those things.
Facts. Can agree with that statement.
So really now I'm going to give you my observations because I understand what you talked with Mackenzie's
Not the
mother
lawyers.
about acceptance of responsibility, etc. All I can tell you is that from the moment I met this young lady here, she expressed sorrow. And I would say during the course of this trial, in the initial emails and statements, she said, "I'm sorry for what you did." The prosecutor has said that she hasn't accepted responsibility. Well, as you remember, during the course of this trial, our defense was that it was a reckless homicide. That's taking responsibility for what she believes happened. So I would respectfully disagree with that. I've seen her express true remorse in the times that I met her in jail, and I don't think it's self-serving. And I'm going to say as an officer of the court that I feel very confident saying that she has expressed true remorse. So ultimately,
Why?
another thing that you have to ask
you
for
like
is the likelihood of
Psychologist,
recidivism,
you know what that
etc.
is like?
Based upon all of those things, I'd respectfully request that you run the
You
sentences
behavioral professional.
concurrently. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who wants to speak?
Not on behalf of the state, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Look at the judge.
Today is the sentencing of the defendant for the purposeful and intentional murders of Davion Flanagan and Dominic Russo. And in a way, it's the second time their families are gathered again to grieve. It's also a day when Mackenzie
30 years would have been
family
nice
grieve
for
the
like
future
2
of
lives.
their
No, I don't think any life is
all three
worth
of these families and the
30
friends
years,
of these
but-
families are suffering. And all of their
Wow.
lives have been irrevocably changed because of the actions of the defendant. The unintended and collateral consequences of a selfish, intentional, and cruel decision by Mackenzie will ripple forever in time. It's literally changed history because it's ended 2 lives. 2 young men are dead. Their deaths were horrible, terrifying, and tragic. I will say again, if any reasonable person reviews Exhibit 802, there can be no doubt in your mind what happened this night. There can be no doubt of the absolute terror of the 2 people in that car.
Hell on wheels is what she called her.
The defendant controlled all the events. She chose the day. Specifically, she chose a day just before her 18th birthday. She chose to drive the car, the time to drive the car.
I do believe she could have been trying
She
to
chose an
unalive
obscure,
herself too,
previously
though.
scouted route through an industrial parkway.
What do
She
you
chose
think?
the target to hit and the victims. She chose the means and the method to follow through. And she planned and purposefully executed the events of July 31st, 2022.
I would say she should have got life.
Review the evidence
Don't
supports
ask
the
me.
factual findings.
I'm not going to be very
The
nice about
forensic
it.
testimony, the testimony of the first responders, the testimony of the emergency room doctors who treated the defendant, the testimony of the coroner's medical examiner, the testimony of those who knew the victims and the defendant, and the testimony of the BMV official who provided evidence that not only did the defendant deny any medical condition when applying for her license, which her mother co-signed and attested to, but also that just after the accident, Mackenzie renewed her driver's license and again denied any medical condition. In fact, the defendant was so concerned about driving that, as the state mentioned, during the investigation, she asked if they could just suspend her license for 10 years. It is hard to fathom how a person could be concerned about their driving privileges,
I agree.
having just been
Okay.
responsible for the deaths of 2 people. There was no medical condition that caused this as an accident. There was no
I think
mechanical
it's too
failure
lenient.
of the car. The record is clear on the facts and the evidence. Her mother's uncorroborated statements without any medical testimony or records is not persuasive. It is also important to remember that even if Mackenzie intended to also die in this crash, that is irrelevant. A failed suicide attempt is not a defense to murder.
Oof.
And even in a murder-suicide attempt, when the perpetrator
Good to
executing
see you,
the plan
Amanda.
survives, the other death or deaths are still murder. There's only one person who's responsible for the pain of everyone in this room, and that person is you, Mackenzie. Nobody else is responsible. This isn't the fault of Dominic's family, or Davion's family, or your family. And I know that each of you have asked your questions to yourselves, what if? What if I had done this or that? The truth of it is, none of us can control the intentions of another. And when
Fact.
there is a purposeful intent to harm or kill someone,
Was it
it's the perpetrator
purposeful? Do you
alone who
believe
bears
that?
the responsibility for the choice and the consequences and the harm that follows. The difficulty for sentencing today, honestly, is whether or not I believe you should get.
I think that the
consecutive
sentence was
sentences.
less harsh because she was underage, and I
I'm
feel like that
troubled
plays a huge role in the
that should I give you a
I
concurrent
don't
sentence,
remember.
that people will believe that somehow
It
I'm
should
being
depend on
disrespectful
how bad
to
the
one of
crime
the
is,
victims.
how brutal. Is it
And on the other
overkill? Was it
hand,
not overkill?
I have to weigh
Etc.
the punishment. There's a very good likelihood, Mackenzie, that you will spend the rest of your life in prison. That won't be up to
Rolling my
you.
eyes. Are they gonna get
That
stuck?
will be
Oh
up to the parole
no!
board, and that will be up to you to a great extent. I understand that the pain in this room wants me to impose the harshest sentence. But I don't believe that would be the appropriate sentence, because I do believe that
Yay! Shout
Mackenzie
out to
will
you,
not be out
probation
for 15
officers.
years.
Good to see you.
So she's sentenced on count 2, the murder of Davion Flanagan, 15 years to life. She's sentenced on count 1, the murder of Dominic Russo, 15 years to life, to be served concurrent to each other.
This actually really pisses me off. Not gonna lie.
I'll waive fines, fees, and costs, and your appellate counsel will be assigned. Are there any questions from the
It
state?
should have been 15 for each.
No, Your Honor.
Well,
Thank you.
Any questions?
No,
I
Your
guess
Honor.
it's served on
All right, thank you.
concurrently. She should have got life, is what I think. I know she. You hear her parents? We know you're innocent.
On the murder of Dominic Russo, 15 years to life,
That's
to be served
disgusting.
concurrent to each other, with credit for time served. I'll waive
I am
fines,
in
fees, and
shock
costs,
and
and
horror,
your appellate counsel will be assigned.
horrified.
Are there any questions from the state?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Any questions?
And I just rewound it like 3
All right,
times.
thank
I have nothing nice to say about that. Nothing nice to say about that. Okay, so we're gonna play. This is the body cam footage. I don't want to play, like I said at the beginning, I don't want to play the mom's reaction, the whole thing. I'm trying to be as respectful and considerate as I can be. So we're just gonna see a little bit, just because we heard her in the courtroom today. And we're going to see her reaction and then listen to her interview. So I feel like it's kind of important to see how she reacted when the police came and told her the news about her son. Let me see. Bear with me. I'm trying to pull it up. Wait, hold on. Hold the phone. Let me pull it up. Oh, okay. I got it. It's intense. Don't come for me. I got it figured out. Chill out. Thank you for being here. This is the police coming to Christine Russo's house, Dominic's mom, to tell her that Dominic has died in the car
We
accident.
will contact, she's gonna come back out here in a second.
Wait, is today your birthday, Mary?
Okay,
Okay, I'll look at that.
I'll get that
Jesse
cat
Ventura.
climbs up
Yeah,
on my counter
yeah.
for payment,
So,
but-
do you-
Hold on, my notes.
what time
I'll
did
write
you
down.
talk to him?
She
Or
doesn't
did
know
you
yet.
actually see him?
Yeah, I was making buffalo chicken dip. I'd have to see.
Okay, well, that's,
Yeah, okay.
Do
Yeah,
you-
because I mean, I
I'll
worked
get that
out to my
permission
buddy's
first.
friends and then I came
okay,
home.
She's
and
about to
I
find
was
out
late,
he
and I was
died.
making buffalo chicken dip. That's all I can remember. And then,
okay.
I'm only playing like 5 minutes
you
of this.
know, I mean, I'd have to look at my phone to see
Okay.
exactly about
Do you-
what time I got home.
Do you know who
It's
he
too
was hanging
sad.
out with last night?
It's too personal. I don't
So I just
want
told my
to
girlfriend because that's
With
it.
his
put it out there.
girlfriend?
Yeah.
You can
Okay,
go watch
And I
it
think
if you
I
want
seen one other kid
somehow.
over there, but I can't remember his name. He fixed his
Through
car.
FOIA.
One of his friends fixed his car. I've only seen
But
one
my
other
girl
time.
Paula Punder,
He's
one
got
who
like a classic
provided
car
that
the kid
content.
was fixing on.
okay. White kid, black kid, do you know?
Yeah, like a mix kind of.
Okay.
I don't think he's real, I mean.
Okay,
Like,
so he was hanging out with his girlfriend and,
well, I don't know if they were really hanging out. The kids come over like twice to work on the car. And
Okay.
That's usually what he's come over for. and then-
Watch her
Okay,
personality
okay,
right here, and
alright,
then when she
um,
finds out her son died.
well, just so you know, obviously, Officer 𝗟𝗏, this is Father Joe.
Okay.
He's-
Joe, where are you? Oh, what he's
St.
from?
Joe's in Strongsville.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm
yeah.
also the chaplain for the police and fire department.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
She's like,
So, unfortunately, there was an accident, okay, involving Mackenzie, Davion,
listen to what she says.
and who we believe is Dominic, is the third person.
An accident?
A car accident, okay,
Where?
last night.
Wait. Wait.
Just
so-
relax, just hold on, just stay seated, just
So
stay
wait,
seated. Just hold on, just listen,
Yes, just
listen.
take a deep breath. deep breath.
Christine, look at me, take a deep breath.
Yeah, just take a
Take a
deep
deep
breath.
breath, okay?
Yeah, this is his mom, Dominic's mom.
Right now,
Okay.
all we know is that the driver, who was Mackenzie, is at Metro.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah,
hold on.
So yeah, just wait.
Just stay seated, please.
Take your time.
Please,
There you
just
go.
relax. Take a deep breath.
That's
Take
all
a
right.
deep breath.
That's okay. You're good. Take your time.
Take a deep breath. Okay. Is anybody else home here with you right
Yeah.
now?
I'm looking for Christopher, but he's sleeping. Angela's in Florida.
Okay.
Wait, where's Mackenzie's mom?
Okay. They're
Yes.
they're down at Metro.
This is why we're only watching a few
Okay.
minutes.
Okay.
I can't do it.
The other two passengers, like I said, was Davion and who we believe is Dominic. Okay.
Okay.
From what Mackenzie told us.
Okay.
Okay. Both Davion and Dominic are deceased.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Christine,
Oh,
Christine,
God.
Christine,
Oh,
Christine,
God.
Christine,
Oh, God.
Just sit down.
Oh, God.
Sit down.
I'm
Just sit
dead.
down. Just sit down.
Oh, my
Just sit
God.
down.
Christine's gonna come
That's all
outside.
That's okay.
Christine.
Yes, just take a deep breath. It's okay.
I know.
Oh, my God.
No. Just it'd be
Christine,
best.
No.
please.
No. I think he can't be. He can't be. What did she
I know.
do?
Trigger warning. I'm sorry.
What did she do?
It would be best.
Oh, my God.
Is there somebody else we can call for you?
I felt it was important that we highlight what she said there. What did she do? We see in the previous interrogation footage that she was toxic. She's trying to key his car, do all kinds of stuff. My heart goes out to the family of the victims and to Mackenzie's as well. I'm sure it's not easy to know that your daughter is a murderer, and you do play some role in that. And so, my heart goes out to all of them. And so I'm not going to play all of this. We're just going to watch a little bit more, and then we're going to move on to the audio interview. I wanted to, at least you get a backstory on what.
Oh, my God.
Is there somebody we can call for you? Okay, wait. Okay.
Oh, my God.
Hold on.
Wait.
Hold on.
Oh, my God.
Why don't you have a seat? Here, sit down.
Just,
Sit there, that's fine.
Oh, my God.
What did she do? That was her question.
Why don't
we
you have a
don't
seat?
we don't
Yeah,
know
we
that
don't know
right
that
now.
yet.
That must tell you a lot about
Is
Mackenzie.
somebody else for you at this point?
Is there somebody, any other family
That we
members?
can contact? There you go. Have a seat. Take your time. Take your time.
Christine,
Yes.
can
Can we get somebody else?
we're gonna come in with you. Christine, we're gonna come in with you, okay? Listen, Where's
Oh
Christopher?
my God, why did this happen? How
Hold
can
on,
they be
relax,
gone? How
relax,
can they
relax.
be gone?
Okay, hold
How
on.
can they be gone?
Where's Christopher? Where's Christopher?
He's sleeping, he's
Okay.
sleeping. Oh
Where's
my
it?
God,
Hold on,
oh
where's
my
it? Here,
God.
sit down,
Oh
sit down.
my
Whose body
God,
cam
I
footage?
can't now.
There you go.
Watch that.
Is
Which
this
one's
justice?
Christopher's room,
15
Christine?
years.
Christine.
Is there somebody we can contact for
It'll
this?
never be
There's
justice
no
in my
way
eyes,
you
Hey,
but
Christopher.
They can't save him.
that's like a whole nother like
Christopher.
spiritual conversation, right?
Hey, come here for a second, bud. Come here. Come here.
Let's
Listen,
get into it,
take a
baby.
seat for me,
I'm down.
please.
You let me know.
How this happen? How can this happen? They have to be able
Officer
to
Laratano
save
is going to talk to you, okay?
him. Oh my God.
Christine.
No, they can't. They have to be able to save him. They have to be able to save him. How can they not?
Christine. Christine, do you need me to talk?
Who do you want us to talk to? Okay, you want to sit?
Who's Frank? Who's Frank?
The brother we saw in the courtroom.
How can this happen?
Hello? Hi, Frank. This is Sergeant Marsala with the Strongsville Police
They're calling
Department.
her ex-husband.
We're over
Dominic's
here at
father.
Christine's residence. Are you close to here by chance? You're a half an hour? Okay. If you can, is it
I think I'm good. I think I showed you guys enough on that. Yeah, it's sad. So now we're going to listen to the audio interview. This, I'm going to show all of it because it is an audio interview with the police department. So it's a little less brutal than that. I'm sorry. I know it's like, Melanie, we don't want to get all sad and shit. Like, we're coming here to have fun, but we want to cover true crime, and I'm all about, that's all my channel is about. So I feel like you need to cover it and look at it from all different perspectives and get all the facts and stuff. I do feel like that's important, at least for me and my channel.
I don't know when was the last time you talked
So it's
to
the audio
the
interview.
prosecutor? It's been a while. So
Hold on. I know it looks like a black screen right now. Wait, don't come for me. Don't come for me. Let me figure it out. This is with the mom that we just saw on.
yeah, but we did get some information on the
I know where
car,
the screen is black.
and the car is normal. There were no defects. We had a forensic mechanic look it over. There were no issues whatsoever with that. Also, medically, pursuant to 2 search warrants, there is nothing to indicate that Mackenzie at the time of the crash or immediately before the crash had any type of medical condition that would have caused the crash. So at this point, we're waiting for the tox screen to look at whether it's OVI related or something else. Now, when you and I talked before in the first time, you indicated that you thought this wasn't just an OVI, that there was something else.
She told me just the other day that they weren't fucked up. I asked her, why didn't you ask me to come
Fucked
get you?
up.
She said, we weren't fucked up or anything. Quote unquote, I don't have it in writing. I only have it orally sent to me at the cemetery. So that's what she said.
Do you still believe that theory that there was something more sinister than, any type of impairment involved?
The only thing that I mean, to me, I don't know if there's a lot of rumors. I think a lot of people are lying about things. My understanding.
Hi, Jules.
from
Good to
one of
see you,
the
my
kids
love.
That the dad that you talked to that stated that she was sleeping and all that and all. I don't even know if that dad was there.
She's talking about Mackenzie.
Dad was in New York.
So yeah, so I don't know how he could state that, but
He's getting that from his son's statement.
Right.
okay.
And the son, the kid came here, in fact, in this exact room with the parents, and the kid said he went to sleep.
Okay.
Hi, Michelle, my love.
No, I thought they said Kenzie was sleeping.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see you. I was looking for you. I was like, where's Michelle?
Woke up around 3.
So I wrote you a
to use
message.
the bathroom, and she was asleep while everybody else was watching South Park. And so Unfortunately, that we haven't been able to corroborate because everybody who was at the party is very uncooperative and they practically lawyered up and refusing to talk.
Yeah, everyone
The
gets
only kid
detention.
who voluntarily talked to us from
Sunday
Dominic
Funday.
and Mackenzie's
We have Jamie
friends
calls next.
was Blair.
It's not too late.
And Blair spoke to me in the presence of his lawyer, and he wasn't very forthcoming. And I kind of put that in my report. I told him, you know, Miss Russo said you're one of Dominic's best friends.
Well, he said that you sat there and thought that they were going to all commit suicide together. That's ridiculous.
A pact. We talked about this yesterday. There was no
We asked
pact.
him if he
I don't
knew.
believe
I
it.
was inquiring whether he had any information that, you know, Dominic might have told him, like, hey, Kenzie's crazy. She might have done this, or she might have, you know, I'm afraid for my life with her.
You should talk to my son Angelo. I mean, that's the problem. You know, she threatened him constantly. I told you it was 1 week before we had to pick him up on the highway when she threatened to crash the car then. Okay. It's not, I was on with Dom. She sat there and texted me. Dom was out of control. Dom was very calm. Said, Mom, you need to come get me. She's threatening to crash the
We
car.
did see those.
Yeah, that's one of the things we wanted to bring up was that text conversation between you and her, and then her and Dom. We got two sides of it. Did Dom tell you that he grabbed the wheel and jerked it like she alleged?
No.
Okay, so when you're on the phone with Dom, to your knowledge, he never grabbed the wheel. It was just her freaking out.
Right. They were on the side of the road. She
Okay.
said, I'm calling the police if you don't get him. And I said, I'm on the phone saying she can call the police all she wants, but we are on our way. What are the police going to do? Okay. So that was that. They were on the side of the road.
What
They were
started
not
that
driving.
fight? You don't know.
The
And I
suicide.
didn't get involved just because I always said that I don't want to have my kids not or think that I don't like her, I didn't like her or whatever. So that they wouldn't, you know.
Do you have your
come to
teacup?
me. I just said, Dom, I know.
Do you want some tea? Can I get you some tea, BBs?
No, all I kept saying was.
I hope
they're
you all
not
brought your
gonna
underwear
fight
for the
in the car.
calls.
That's all I said. Don't fight in the car. Okay. And I didn't even in detail read her bullshit and her rants because I don't really give a shit what she had to say at that point.
Okay. So just to clarify, me looking
Melly
into
Timber.
the possibility that there was a potentially suicide involved on her behalf, not just recklessness, is based on the presumption that there was something more sinister than.
Thank you, Project Barbie.
And I kind of got that from you. I consider you to be more reliable than the average, given your profession and the fact that you kind of are experienced within the legal system. So when you tell me, hey, this is not just an OVI, I'm going to give it some more thought. And so I was hoping that some of the friends would say, hey, yeah, you know what? Dom did in private text me, you know, that, hey, she's crazy. You know, she tried to do this. And maybe Blair just doesn't want to talk.
Dom's not a real, you have to understand, he doesn't do a lot of social media. He doesn't do a lot of texting. Even him and I, it's more on the phone where you pick up the phone and talk. So he would not be texting from that. I do know, which again would be hearsay, that Blair said that she has driven crazy before. He never.
We saw there was proof.
I asked him.
She tried to crash with them before.
Into that.
I asked and he
Maybe
said
he
once.
misunderstood. Well, I don't know that Dom drove a lot. Dom was a very safe, slow driver. I mean, so not that he hasn't gotten a speeding ticket here and there on the highway. I'm not saying that. But after my surgery, it was a lot easier for me to drive with him than my other son. Just because I was in so much pain, and he was just really more like an old man driving than, you know, Angelo. So, and not anything against Ange, but that's just he's more jerky of a driver, you know, than Dom was. It could be the vehicle too. But
when I asked those questions to Blair, first of all, Blair was very off. Clearly, you know,
I have the interview too from Blair. I'm debating if I want to play it.
I mean, we
He's
have
a
the
friend.
interview at the attorney's house, which is unusual.
Not very happy
but,
about it.
You know, I asked him if he was a passenger ever with Mackenzie driving. He said once. I'm like, you know, I kind of found that hard to believe. that you've only driven once. And I asked him if he had any concerns about his safety, because again, other people have said, or through the rumor mill, we got the whole idea that she's a reckless driver. Some kids didn't feel safe with her, including her best friend, Rosie, who her dad wouldn't let us, talk to her. She wouldn't talk to us. Landon Turner wouldn't talk to us. All these people who were at the party that night, with the exception of Paul Burlinghouse, nobody else is talking. And all of them kind of either involved their parents and or lawyers. And so we're kind of, at this point, the prosecutor—
Don't self-snitch, get a lawyer.
And Tim took their names, and chances are they're going to be subpoenaed for a grand jury. And so are they going to talk? Yeah, eventually they're going to talk, maybe not to me, but they're going to have to answer some questions to Tim. And we're relaying all that
How does that
information.
work with juveniles? Are these juveniles?
No, they're 18 now.
Okay,
Yes, they're off to college. So Rosie's in OU.
It seemed like Ken.
Thanks,
Mackenzie
Barbie,
was
for being
one of
here. I
the
just saw your
younger friends
second
in the
comment.
group, and she turned, like 3 days after the accident. So I think everybody else had turned just before her.
Right. So, I'm not going to lie to you. They're, the parents are also, some of the parents don't want to get in the middle of this, but I think these kids who are at the Burlinghouse—
There is signs that or evidence that proves she did try to crash before
Yeah,
him
none
in
of
the
them
park.
are, and you have to
She was
realize
very
Dom
violent and
and,
aggressive with him,
Davion
allegedly.
went because of Kenzie.
Right,
They're-
right.
I mean, well, Davion might have known the people because he just graduated, but
We know Kenzie and Rosie planned that night because Rosie and Burlinghouse are like best friends.
Okay.
So they were
So I
there
mean-
on behalf of
right.
Mackenzie.
So I mean,
Dom
he
was
wasn't
tagging
friends
along.
with- right? Yeah, exactly.
And Dom was tagging along. So we are, we did ask those questions. And again, nobody's willing to talk. It's all hearsay. Hey, so-and-so says—
No, it's the body cam
Kenzie's a
footage
bad
noise.
driver,
I'm
we never
sorry.
want to be in the car with her. But
Couple people
nobody came up and said 1, 2, 3. We had 4 or 5 people who came in voluntarily, gave statements, and they were good statements. But the people we wanted to talk to, they kind of put up those roadblocks. So I noticed that there were some text exchanges between you and Mackenzie. And a lot of times, at some point there was some "I love you" exchanges, so maybe she felt comfortable. But can you tell me what the relationship was like between Dom and Kenzie?
well,
This is
Dom,
so important.
was kind of more private with me regarding their arguments, but my son Angelo said that she would threaten him all the time.
How old's Angela now?
23 or 24.
Okay. And Chris is 26?
6, yeah.
I get my
And,
glasses.
and how this all came up, so you know the background. I didn't like. And he would say that all Dom's problems were because of her and being upset. And
Oh, did it get quiet? That's okay. It gets quiet for a minute, I think, because there's a redaction. My bad. Oh, there we go.
And she was always right, and she came over for holidays, and they'd include me and things like that, and I just figured maybe she just needs to grow up. She's young. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You don't think that it's gonna come to this.
What were your vibes, your motherly instincts? What did you feel around Kenzie, especially in the presence of Dominic? Was she genuine, or
She was everything that you can tell by her. Everything's all about her. if you notice, prom pictures.
Everything is all about her.
Every single time we try to get a picture, she's all over my son, so I can't even get one without her in it. He catered to her. She claimed she had a gluten-free problem or something, and I would make dinner, and then I would be questioned on was the stuff okay for her diet because her stomach, and if I didn't have everything that would have complied with her stomach diet, whatever it was, I never believed it. He would cook for her separate, always. And she's a slob. She never cleans. Her first house is a slob.
Slob.
My house isn't the greatest either, but I'm just saying, it's just, you know, if Dom's gonna
A
cook for you, do
slob.
dishes. Clean up after yourself. Do you know what I mean?
I don't ever want to be
That
called a
sort of
slob.
thing. But everything was always about her. I mean, like I said, even with her parents. I want you to know that her aunt works for Doug Brill Mill. I have to ask David. I'm not sure exactly what the lawyer's name is. It's a Lorain County lawyer, but she's the one that set up the GoFundMe.
She works for them. Okay.
Yes. So while Kenzie was in the hospital, they were already making up stories.
Right.
Okay, as to what happened with the deer, the epilepsy, the seizure, down to a bunch of other stuff. I had not breathed a word about the mushroom story, not a word to anybody, but I had already heard, oh, well, those had to be Dom's because she was a juvenile and she was holding his.
We know
drugs
she
because
liked
was
to
a juvenile. If
use
anybody
drugs.
knows Dom would take a hit before he would put somebody else in harm's way. So this is all that's been fabricated. Per Tim's request, and I mean, I feel bad. Know the girl forever. I mean, I can't imagine what she's feeling like, whether she did it on purpose. So she claims she knows nothing. She remembers nothing. And
She was clearly a party girl. I agree.
she did say,
You've kept in
I agree
contact with
that.
her since?
yes, she did say something that was pretty
No judgment. I was too, but
damning the other day.
Have you seen her in person or just
I
over?
just
This is
seen
not
her
good.
twice at the cemetery.
I know my
Does she
boyfriend's,
get there?
my
Does she
ex-boyfriend's
drive?
on
How is
parents didn't ever talk about me like that. So
Is she in a wheelchair still?
at least
she
there's
had
that.
really put weight on her left leg,
Okay.
and then she's supposed to start some physical therapy.
Okay.
And then I've also kept in touch because she's dangling photos, she's dangling videos. And, you know, like when she just pieces one or two out instead of saying, I think you'd enjoyed it. Like we were at the cemetery and we had this bee problem between the two of us. I still have the bee problem. The bee people are coming today. But Dom had called me about the bees, and I don't know what she was recording, but it's all his voice, at least I, you know, because it has his voice. And so she finally sends me that one. But it's like, you know, she's just
Playing on your emotions.
yeah.
I agree, Pantera. How many people have we had in our lives like that? Too many to count.
Oh, that was it.
Too many to count, baby.
Can find it. So she'd been.
And I'm not claiming I'm perfect. Don't come for me.
Come over to the house.
Absolutely not.
We lived between the two
Absolutely
houses.
not.
With Christopher's mental illness, Dom couldn't.
What did you say about Chris?
Christopher's his mental illness.
What's he got have going on?
He has he's been seeing, he's been in and out of Oakview. He's got like he imagines stuff like he called the police the one day claiming Don had threatened him, and we're all sitting there and the police are like,
and I don't want to get away
off
from
track.
what you're talking about, but I
But
did see, I want to touch on, there was some text about Dom and Chris having a rough relationship.
yeah, that's why Dom started sleeping a lot next door, even though he still maintained his room and lived with me. But because of that, like I said, Chris called the police on him several times. I'm sure you've got a record of it, claiming this and that. Now, the one day I was in the hospital, Dom was just outside, wanted to get back in to eat breakfast in the house. I have a broken window still from it. Christopher had locked him out and called the police and said Dom was outside threatening, which wasn't true. Then I'm there, I'm out of the hospital now. Chris calls again and says Dom threatened him. I'm sitting right there and I'm like, whatever. Cops come, four deep or whatever. They talked to Chris. They eventually take him to
Oh.
a few because they had realized that he
It
was
sounds like they're familiar
processing what was really
with 4
happening.
deep rolling up.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get back to Kenzie.
So no, so why I'm saying all
Yeah.
this was because she's begging me to go over there into that house where he had set up his business and his studio and the things that he was doing, you know, whatever with his job. And I said I'm not touching that stuff. I don't know why she wants to, but then she wanted to take some of his clothes, and I found out she had a bag of his clothes at her house. And then she says to me, well, I don't understand, you know, why I couldn't go in there where I've been staying for the last 4 months or something, which gave you the living on the own thing. Okay. Now, mind you, mother, I check and see when the car comes home. I check and see what's there.
And we
The
see
night
that,
of the
yeah.
incidents, I had assumed he was home. His car was there. They don't rarely would take Kenzie's car. Now, they did take it to Florida because she has the better gas mileage or whatever. The two of them went together with the mother, with her mom.
Hold on, so when they drove to Florida, her mom was with them?
Yeah, they traveled together. Yeah, in 2 separate cars though.
Yeah.
So they had 2 vehicles, so the mom could take the daughter and do different things.
Gotcha.
Universal, but they piggyback together.
Gotcha.
So, because I was nervous about that, I said, oh, gee, you know what I mean? They had planned this. I just got out of the hospital. This was like right around Easter. But then my ex and Angela went, so they met them down there too. So I had a little bit sense okay and kept in touch, and then they came home. But she says that I've been staying there or living there for the last so many months. I have it in a text message since I don't know if your subpoena keeps going through
And
to back up after that.
gotcha. So you can confirm that she has stayed, even as a juvenile at the time, she has been staying outside her parents'
And the
house.
point of all of that is the fact that the mom never said, "Are the kids home?" She never checked in with me ever. The only time they would ever come over would be once in a blue moon to drop something off or to take pictures for some event. Do you know what I'm saying? But Kenzie, Dom took her to Polaris. Dom made sure she made it to school. Mom didn't do any of that. Okay. So it was all Dom, you know, other than her, obviously, if she could walk to the high school.
How long they've been together?
They said 4 years. I don't
4
know that
years.
it was quite that long, but that's what he said. And that's what he told Angela, that he didn't want to, he felt that it had been 4 years.
When
of
did
his
you notice
life.
her coming around? Give or take.
Oh, it's been a few years.
It's
Oh,
been
for
a
sure.
few
Yeah, it
years?
didn't
Okay.
just happen. But
Okay.
I'm just saying, I don't know. Like maybe when they first started dating, they were really young. Then Dom wasn't probably driving even. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So I
right.
probably didn't see much of her. or
Dom
whatever.
ever talk about her driving or her, ever, mention anything to you about, I don't feel safe getting in a car with this girl or anything of that sort?
Like I said, he has stated that she's crazy, that he was concerned
She's
about her
crazy.
driving, and clearly that was mentioned before. And I don't know exact language because I didn't remember that I would have to remember was the day on the highway the week before, which was and I'll never. And you said, how do you remember? Well, I know I had testing the next day. I was sick. It was raining. I remember everything about it because I had to go to the hospital the next morning. So nobody could say, "Oh, you just don't remember that day." No, I do. I remember it clear as a bell.
And
And then she sent her dad over to get her purse out of the house and blah, 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 you know. And it was, I just said, it's just, I told the dad, this is just stupid.
Did they fight a lot?
According to my son, Angelo, yes, they were fighting quite a bit.
Would you mind us talking to Angelo?
We saw that interview yesterday.
Actually, if you didn't make it, he's sort of lately been having a tough time getting up in the morning. Just, I think it started, he was really strong for me through all of this. But if you can make it a little bit later in the day,
We could.
break it
Absolutely.
up.
We're still going through her phone. So the search warrant we got through her phone, there's 80 gigabytes of data.
Her and
Between
Dom had
31,000 text messages or
It's
exchanges.
31,000
I mean,
text
it's an
messages.
astronomical number. That's why it's taking us forever to get to these
Yeah,
interviews.
she's more of a texter than Dom is. Like I said, me and Dom rarely
13,000.
text. I mean, I might say I love you or whatever, but he would.
A lot of
he
text
usually would call.
messages.
You know,
And that was more his
Ugh.
style, than
one thing that came up with when I talked to Blair was the goodbye messages and the phone calls.
That's a lot,
Dom
right?
The wee hours
I'm
of
like,
the morning of the crash.
She
He
wants
said
to send 30,000 text
Dom
messages
FaceTimed with him or
with me
called, but
now.
Blair was asleep, so he missed the call. And he's pretty torn over this because he's like, I wish I was awake to know what he wanted, because that's that mystery that he'll never know.
Why are you gonna like
And
over
so
what?
he said,
period?
according to him,
What
that
time?
Dom sent like I
1
love you
year,
type
6 months.
messages to family members.
No, I
and to
think that,
friends.
I don't know about that. The only thing I do know is he texts his dad, love you, dad, or whatever.
Is that unusual?
No, I don't think that it was anything unusual for him. I don't know. Because him and his dad have had a rocky relationship their whole life. Do you know what I mean? So who knows? Maybe the kid had a freaking premonition and felt guilty because they did. Dom was young when I got divorced, and his dad made it some of the visitation difficult for them, and with him being young, it was
Harder on him than the other two.
Have you been able to talk to his dad since the crash?
I
He called me last week. I don't know if he told you
me
that.
he was gonna call you.
He wanted to know the status, why we're still investigating, why this is not
Well, yeah, and I don't trust him, and we've told him we don't trust him because
Don't trust
he's out
him.
there and he's doing some voodoo. I called him hysterical.
Right.
The night that it happened.
We
I was
heard that in
tears. I
yesterday's
didn't
live
wanna
too.
forget what had happened. I was so upset, and they claim that that Dom from beyond has told them through this like a Ouija board thing that it wasn't the accident wasn't Kenzie's fault. Well, how could it not be? When 𝗟𝗄 tells me that the 360, which I don't understand, I'm not technological savvy, okay, that she's driving fine and then accelerates at one point to this point and doesn't stop.
So you talked to 𝗟𝗄?
Well, he called after Davion's funeral, 𝗟𝗄 introduced me to the parents of the wake, and then I had snuck.
We heard this yesterday.
I couldn't deal with anybody, so I went late to the church, but I felt I wanted to pay the
Voodoo.
and I left before they did the procession, so I just to be there for the mass, and he had called complaining about talking shit, basically, about things that he was disappointed in, and not, I mean, kind of.
Yeah, we did Emily's in the live yesterday. We heard that she was messing with that stuff.
Him and I had a few criticisms about
Now the
way
mom's
that
here
the funeral was handled and
clarifying
Dominic
that.
Russo and things like that. I don't know if he just used me as a sounding board, because he was very close with them. But he just started with blah blah blah, and then he went on to say, "You better not let this go. That I know that this is, this." She did this on basically. I don't want to replace the kids' words,
And it's
but-
okay, because we talked to 𝗟𝗄.
Him and Tyler Croy.
Yeah, and
They're
then
very
he was just very angry and just said that, you better not let that. I said, I'm not gonna let this go. I said, it's in the police's hand. Well, even if I said, oh, it's fine. Yeah, I said, it's still a crime. So I got 2 dead kids, so, but so he just vented for a little bit, and I hadn't talked to him, much after that, but, and I did hear a little bit, like, from some of the other kids that, he maybe exaggerates a little bit, wait, he doesn't know everything like he claims he knows, blah, blah, blah. But don't get wrapped up in what the kid tells you, you know what I mean? Because I thought it was odd, too, that he would call and criticize about the funeral, right, and the things, and then not coming back, and the neighbor.
Hey, I just bothered you now.
So, are there any rumors that you would want us to confirm or dispel for you? Anything because
Well, I told you
want
the
to
big
try
thing
to.
was that mushroom thing, okay, which
The mushroom was found on her person.
But I know that.
It's on
but
body
I'm saying
cam.
I have not said a word. I was told that. I mean, nothing you guys have said has left my brain, okay?
The mushrooms were tested. They came back. It's an F2.
Are you against all
quantity.
logic?
It was above the bulk amount. It was on her person. Yes.
See, because I asked him, I've been in a mushroom case in freaking years.
They're really, listen, I've spent the last 4 years in the
Good to see you.
DEA task force. This is the second time in 4 years I've spent.
It's a large quantity, and the medics were the ones who searched her when they strapped her to the gurney before the life flight. It was even Berea. It wasn't even Strongsville. So it's all on the body cam of the officer. The medic reaches in, grabs it, gives it to the officer. So I mean, there's no. You're not gonna be able to pin it on down.
But I'm telling you, that was the big thing. And then I was like, well, that's not his character.
Right.
And why in the hell, if they're driving home sober at 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning or whatever time it was, would that be there? Like, I still don't know whose backpack's in the car. I don't know what happened to his necklace.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't even know. I know I called you guys one night hysterical. I don't know who I talked to, but I just didn't know what happened to his clothes. I didn't know.
Oh, this is the mom we just
So
watched in the previous body cam footage.
The car is in our possession. It's secured in one of our bays because it's evidence at this point. Everything else that we were able to collect from the car, that we were able to get, is in property. Everything. The only things that I released were, the necklace that I found out, a couple of things, and everything was with the prosecutor's approval. I wasn't going to release.
Well, I don't know. Tim wasn't thrilled. He wanted you to just keep her phone. He goes, but we can't keep her phone forever. But
right.
I said, well, how can you? I mean, what are you going to do?
Well, and that was a good move on Zaki's part. He made a good deal because
we had to make a deal with the devil. And you're a defense lawyer. You're an excellent lawyer. You know how this goes. At this point, we served the search warrant. That seizure of the phone becomes unreasonable. What am I holding on to the phone for? We gave her the phone back in exchange for the code. Had we not gotten that code, that phone possibly could have had to go to Israel, to the lab, to Cellbrite, to crack into it. Again, or the feds or something. It would have been very difficult. Apple doesn't make things easy for police to get into. That's one.
Know. I have an old phone that I can't get into either.
Number two, as you might already know, I wanted to give her a rope and let that go on the record. I wanted to give her the phone back, see what she's going to do with it. And she did. I mean, she was making modeling, talking to this modeling company from the hospital about her future plans with no regard to the fact that she took 2 innocent lives. Or at least contributed to the loss of life. So it was a strategic decision
I agree,
that I
Augie.
made that I will.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it.
And I know,
just wanted to make a joke about it.
No, and again, Tim and I talked, and I said, listen, sometimes you
She's
kinda
never
have
been
to,
told no.
her mom called over 10, 15 times here wanting the phone back. And so once we served the search warrant and we had the
You needed head of what
Hey
you
Scott, good to see
we
you.
got all that.
I gotcha.
So that takes
She
me
was
to the
never told no.
next
I agree.
to the Dom's phone. I know you asked Jason for Dom's phone. I do have Dom's phone, and what I was gonna say is a lot of the friends were not cooperative with us, and I'm wondering if there is anything on Dom's phone. We looked through Davion's phone. We asked the parents. And granted, the parents had no standing in his case, but I know with Dom's phone, it's registered to a law firm, so you do have standing. Whether or not you would consent to letting us look.
Yeah, I just can't, and I can't because I have so many confidential communications, even with my son about other people that he would call me or and talk about, but he's not friends with any of those people.
And we, all we got from at least Blair and from talking to him is that there were those phone calls or at least attempts to make calls the morning of the crash. So in particular, we're not looking to.
I can
tarnish
go on my Verizon and print off his call log. I have absolutely no problem doing that.
I'm interested.
Can you get text messages through my Verizon?
I will find out.
From the night of the 30th.
I know, like in Medina, because they're always really more so than Cuyahoga. they're freaks about phones and all that
Mhm.
stuff. And we will get printouts. They're harder to go through because it's not the bubbles like we like
Yeah,
to see
yeah, right.
on the thing, but it'll show the number and it'll show the statement.
Sure.
So,
And-
but that's the only thing, is like, I got kids right now,
Right.
cases are going on. I can't, that are his friends, yeah.
My main concern is, like I said, we're not looking to, you know,
Oh, I don't,
tarnish
I'm
his
not,
name.
I don't, the kid didn't do anything.
Right.
I mean, I don't.
All we
I
want to
just-
know is
right,
those
if there's
calls
anything
were,
else that went through.
did he
yeah.
vent that night to somebody? Maybe did he take a picture of her sleeping at the house? Did he, you know, anything that,
Well,
that
I
would
think,
shed some light on what
mean,
happened?
I don't know that I could do anything with it, and I'll frankly tell you why the phone's so important. Not only did we have, you know, he started that business, he had his college fund that he was using money to make multiple investments, and I've asked, which I don't do a whole lot of probate, but Loretta, my lawyer, I said, how am I gonna, you know, like some of them will say, take a text message to verify
in
your
the phone.
identity.
Mhm.
So anything, like he has a laptop, but his cryptocurrency, all that shit's gonna be on there. I don't know, because you said it was smashed. I don't know if I wanna go to Verizon and say, hey, can we at least transfer it? So I could try to find out where's my, right now, even my son said, we could be getting killed in the stock market, and we don't even have his stocks. We did put one in my name.
Wow.
That we did together because he was too young for them to establish it, but the rest of the accounts he established.
Okay.
I mean, I know where he banks at, that's not an issue, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
take a
about the
picture of her sleeping is weird.
stock accounts, and because this freaking paperless shit, nothing comes to the house. I get the
Right.
bank statement to the house, but I was with him
Mhm.
and told the bank, just do a paper copy. Because everything's with this wireless shit, I can't, I have nothing to even go on.
What kind of business was Dom running?
He did, he were making music, he set up a studio, and then people would come and pay him, and he would help them
In the
with
house
studio
next door.
time.
Sound and
That's
okay,
where he
yeah.
conducted, and he made his own songs, and that was how he was making his money, plus, like I said, I didn't hand over all his money, just so you know, I mean, he would say, give me 10 grand, I'm gonna put it in this stock, or, you know, I mean,
Right.
so I would order the checks out of it. It was a uniform gift to minors up to 21.
Mhm.
So, but I don't know, like I said, even the one that me and him had together, I think is going, I don't get statements on that either. So
Mhm.
even Angela says I could be trading the stock or buying and selling, we can't do nothing.
Okay.
And that only mine,
Yeah.
it's in my
Yeah.
name, he could have with my permission. I can't
Right.
do nothing with Dom's. I just gotta turn it over to Loretta to see if we can get,
Mhm.
that
I
money
will,
back.
I will contact him once we're done here, let him know, because like I said, since the Mackenzie's phone, you know, I run everything by him. Hey, you good with us
Yeah,
releasing?
no, that's fine. I mean, I don't know.
We haven't looked into it. I
Yeah,
just want you to know.
I don't know if it's even possible. I don't know. If that's the case, then the only thing I can hope is Verizon tells me you can pull it from the cloud. Do you
See you,
what I'm
Nick
saying?
Puppy.
Because a lot of
Good
stuff,
to see you.
so I may be able to do that. I know I can definitely get all the call logs. I
That's,
get it now.
you know, the
And then
calls
I
and
can
the
go
texts were
from
on.
there.
Right, and that's, like I said,
Like I
we're,
said, he's more of a caller than a texter, and that was just, I think the only reason he texted his dad late was because, it was late.
okay. Like I said, based on that conversation with
Hey,
Blair,
Emery.
it just seemed,
Good to see
even
you.
by his own admission, it's just unusual.
Mhm.
And, you know, calling Blair late at night, like maybe he did have a feeling,
Well,
or
I did.
maybe there was something, there
I
was some
made
kind of
the
a,
comment the week before, we all went to dinner with my mom. And I said, why didn't we take a picture? And Ange goes, yeah, we didn't take a picture of all of us at dinner. I said, yeah, that picture will never happen again. Not thinking my son,
Mhm.
but you know what I'm saying? That
Right.
definitely was what the Lord was putting in my brain. I was thinking my mom or my stepdad would have passed. Do you know what I mean? They
Right.
just turned 80. You know what I'm saying? Not the opposite. So I don't know that, but I was clueless, obviously.
if this goes to trial, as you might expect.
We saw,
to
well, we
discovery
don't
that
see the
her
bench trial,
defense
but we
lawyer,
know there was a bench
Kim
trial.
McDowell?
Oh, that's what she hired?
Yeah,
Debbie
well,
McDonald?
they're in the
McDonald or
third one
McDowell?
now. so it's it's changed a couple times, but I think it's
She had Brad Koff from Columbus who referred her to Stephen McGowan, and all of a sudden, Jim.
Steve McGowan, I love Steve McGowan. He's
been around forever.
He doesn't. He won't work the case. It's kind of like Stu Libby. They don't watch videos. They don't listen to recordings.
No, it's too much for him.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Which is just it's
Jim
terrible.
is now representing her. So all these
That's weird.
steps.
So I'm wondering if the aunt, because I think it was Doug Will, some lawyer from Lorraine. I was told that, and so maybe he just couldn't do it. Maybe he's not.
I do not know, but there were some text exchanges between you and Mackenzie where she talks about Dom's mental health, and I know this is something that potentially could come up. So I just have to ask. Dom suffered from depression. No, any mental issues that they
No, and in fact, when they were, my ex family was going to try to kill Christopher at the house, and Dom intervened, got charged, which he shouldn't have because he was a victim. They came with guns and everything strapped to kill Christopher.
What?
We had to take a mental health exam for the court, and that was turned into Berea court. I do have a copy of it. He had to take a mental health and drug exam. And
wow.
I don't remember what the mental health part of it, but I remember the drugs and reading, because the drug and alcohol thing, that he had tried it. He had reported that he had tried alcohol a couple times at some parties. And mind you, this was done a year ago. Okay.
Right.
Just, it wasn't done yesterday. Okay.
Right.
And then, the only other issue was he had the medical marijuana card, and they did not find that was a drug issue because he was using
He
it.
did have a medical marijuana card. Did he? What did he get that for?
Well, he had an injury in basketball for his ankle. And again, I wasn't with the doctor.
So it sounds like
but he
their
experienced
families
a lot of
had
pain.
toxic
We were seeing
behavior
an ankle
around.
specialist over at Southwest. Then he wanted him to go for MRIs. They what the assurance said he's too young or something. Like something stupid. I don't know. But he had an ankle. He always wore an ankle brace quite a bit. And I have a lot of tendon issues. I had a lot of braces that I was giving him. So he experienced from basketball a lot of pain at the ankle and stuff that helped with.
In December
Hey, Jess, good to
2020,
see you.
December 28, Mackenzie texted you saying Dom is saying he wants to hurt himself, and she goes on.
Dom wanted to hurt himself?
Help, and then you reply by saying he's all right, and in a brat mode, hit his head on the wall.
What did I say?
You said
In a brat
he's all
mode?
right, and in brat mode, hit his head on the wall. I don't know if you remember that.
Basically, he was just angry.
He was
because
just
hit his head, but there was a couple times.
Oh
that
no,
Mackenzie-
he was angry because he hit his head. I remember
Okay.
that.
And
Yeah,
so
he hit his head,
nothing-
so he got mad.
So we're seeing
there's no
toxic
indication
tendencies
that he
here
wanted
and
to hurt
behavior issues with Dom, but we saw that with Mackenzie as well in the Angelo Russo
No,
interview. So it sounds like they were both.
ask Angelo, but I think any death threats usually came from her.
Toxic.
Or, I'll kill myself if you break up with me, or I'm gonna do this if you break up with me. Do you know
Whoa.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In January 2021, Mackenzie texted you saying about herself. I was feeling all weird and having lot of anxiety from withdrawal. You know what she's withdrawing from?
Withdraw.
Did you know she has a drug dependence issue?
Oh.
This was sent to you, to your phone. Do you know what she's talking about?
So they knew.
The only thing I can think.
She did make several threats to him. Yes, that's right,
And I
Stormy.
really have to go back and read them all.
But
At
it
one
sounds like
point
both
with the
families knew.
stomach thing, okay, they had thought she had some.
They thought she was gluten intolerant.
It had to do with marijuana, but marijuana doesn't cause withdrawal symptoms. But she was supposedly couldn't smoke marijuana because they were thinking that was part of this issue. It's some condition. that
She did smoke a lot of weed.
smoking marijuana. Don't ask me. I don't know. Unless
Not me
it's stated.
hunching over.
That's
Did you
the
know her to
only-
smoke
Bad
marijuana?
posture.
I never never seen her do it, but now that she admitted to me at the cemetery that she hasn't smoked since she got out of the hospital.
Well, she hasn't
and
smoked
I
because
know
now
about
she's
the
being
condition
probably
she wasn't
monitored and
smoking,
tested, and
but
she's
I'm
out.
sure she was back smoking again because she just brought it up to me.
Yeah.
Not like she sat there and smoked in front of me or anything,
Right.
you know.
But to just bring it up out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't, but well, that's because when she was getting sick with the stomach thing, this is how a lot of this started, was with her stomach, but it was, I know that she had to, one of the things was, and I don't know what the condition is, I might be able to ask Angelo, but it was something where they said that the doctor
She did
told her
shrooms.
couldn't
She was
smoke
doing like
marijuana anymore,
cocaine, I think,
I
too.
don't know if that really turned out. I think that whole issue ended too.
Allegedly.
With that, and which eventually led to the stupid gluten-free thing.
Okay.
That was going on. But I mean, why would she? Maybe withdrawal. I mean, you don't withdraw from marijuana. I don't think that she used any other drugs. I don't. I was kind of shocked about the whole mushroom.
We heard
I mean,
the
except
friend give an interview though.
grams,
I'm saying she did do
grams,
other
you know what
stuff,
I'm saying?
but
Most of these kids got med cards.
hey,
for
it's all
different
allegedly.
reasons, do you know what I'm saying? But I don't know that. I highly doubt it. That would be a term that you'd use for like heroin or something.
Right.
But maybe in her mind, she was withdrawing.
And that's
from
why I
marijuana.
call
So
her
why is she
attention.
punching
Yeah.
your son in the
Because it's not
face?
something you normally see
No.
with.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the last one, that's the one text that
That's
kind of
not
stood out from
normal
the week before
behavior.
the crash on July 17th, where she texted you saying, "To come get Dom. He grabbed the steering
You
wheel
can
on the
withdraw
highway,
from weed.
trying
You
to spin
can.
out my car and hurt me."
I've
She
never
kind
met
of
anyone
played it
who
off
got
to,
like super violent
No,
off
she
of
does.
that
She
though.
totally. That's what she always did. Everything was always Dom's fault. She
I'm
always
scared
twisted it around.
because of driving in the rain. If he doesn't get out of my car, I'm calling my dad. And then you said Hench is on the way. Who's Hench?
That's Christopher Martin. That's his nickname. He's the fellow that went and picked up Dom.
And did
Does
he
it
ever
make
say
you want
anything
to
about what
drive your
transpired? Did he tell
car
you,
into
I,
a brick
Christina,
building?
No,
picked him
that
up?
he called me and said that Mom.
Possibly. Maybe
in
if there's a
this
mental health
calm of a
disorder
voice. I mean, like I
issue
said,
or,
we
you know,
talked
present,
openly,
but I
texted,
feel like
Mom, you need to come get me. Kenzie's being crazy. She's threatening to crash the car on the highway. Okay, are you pulled over? Yes.
she's
Where
threatening
at
to
on the
crash the
highway?
car on the
Okay, I'm laying
highway.
on the couch. Which I was glad because I had Christopher not my son Christopher Hench, on his way to get him while I stayed on the phone with Dom till I knew that he was there and she didn't do anything. And then after, that's when she just started ranting. I didn't pay attention to her, ranting and started blaming him for everything. It's like, whatever. Do you know what I mean? I said, I don't really care. Just don't fight in the car. And it seems that she did that because he had like little tiny.
She did fight in the car.
Things with her in the car, you know, just like nothing, no damage, anything. But you know, Kenzie had me hit the mailbox because she was fighting with him in the car, and Andrew again could probably tell you more details, but I don't know if she grabbed the steering wheel. I mean, it was my own mailbox; it wasn't a crime. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there has been, since she started driving,
I agree, Stormy.
more of the issue of her. But again, everything's always Dom's fault.
Right.
Right.
We can kind of see it from the text where there's a lot of that blame, shifting blame.
Yep.
So, did you know where they were going that morning? Did you have any idea? Did Dom say anything the night before, like, "Hey, we're gonna be at this party and then we're going there"?
Yeah.
Where were they going?
I was making. He said that they had a couple of graduation parties to go to, and I had said that. Yeah, that I was making some dip and some other things or whatever, and Blair had come over and I said, okay, this stuff's getting done or whatever. And his impression was, I know he texted me, all right, at one point I had talked to them. He didn't think they were going to be gone. Then I texted him.
So they were very much familiar with how toxic she was and how toxic this relationship was.
And he said, okay, well, we shouldn't be long, or we'll be back in a little bit or whatever. And then that was it.
There wasn't
Blair
probably
said
much
that
they
Dom
could
really
do,
didn't
but
go to these parties. That's what I was told. That he did it for Kenzie. Wasn't friends
enabling
with the people,
that.
wasn't thrilled about going.
We know the first party they went to was in Parma. It wasn't even a Strongsville.
I heard that there was no parents at a Lakewood house too. that was another part of it too. Tzni tell you about that? This is
They
where I'm
enabled
getting
it.
a lot of my
This is,
information.
and based on what we were able to track back to almost 8 p.m. and there was no indication they were in Lakewood. They were in Parma Heights area. We even have the LPR because we ran the license plate for the Toyota and saw what time they were going where. So we knew they went to Parma, and after that, they ended up on Brushwood, and that's where they spent the
That's Burling
6,
houses.
7 hours.
And that's the one that's behind Whitney, by the way.
Yes, yes. You know, Brushwood has 2 entrances.
Not
They
really.
don't connect, but they were off of Whitney.
Okay.
So this is, we kind of know that for a fact, and they left there about 5:30
Yeah,
in
he
the
just,
morning.
again, and again, everybody's told me don't live and die by what Tzni has to say,
No.
because he doesn't know
Yeah,
everything, but he had thought that there was, he was the one that alerted me that there weren't parents supervising these
Right.
parties.
I think a lot of what's.
Why would they
going on
need parents if they
is
allow their
grief.
kids to smoke weed and drink?
he-
I'm
I
sorry.
mean, correct me if I'm
I'm
wrong.
being
'Cause I
mean,
talked to
but it's
him.
like
Him and Dom were pretty close.
you obviously didn't care.
So I think a lot of him, I don't want to say conspiracy theory, but his digging and his own
He
investigating.
enabled it. If they
I
smoke,
think he's getting some of this information. So yeah, don't put too much into, because between the grief and the anger of Mackenzie and him doing his own digging and talking to people and that, I think people are staring him at some.
And what's weird too is I had heard, and I probably confused me, I don't want to just say it's put it all on this kid, but before I had heard the mushroom story, I had heard that all these people at this party were like tripping or whatever. But I didn't hear that mushrooms. When I think of tripping, I think of acid. I don't know if that still goes around these days. Like it used to
acid.
in the 70s or 80s, whenever it was. But I haven't been in an acid case in a long time either. So,
Yeah, it's coming on the weird.
but
Wait.
like I said, none of them were big drinkers. I didn't really see
Right.
them ever.
I was
We
not
know-
born in the
we know-
acid
You know
era,
what I mean?
but
Just none of the 3 of them even. Now, did I ever go to a party with Kenzie? No, I never did. But I've seen her quite a bit. I've never seen her screwed up on anything. I've never seen my son screwed up on anything.
Augie's like, yeah, we don't do
He
acid.
was
Um,
kind of the same way. I mean, like I said,
yeah, I've never done acid.
they were always doing something. If they're not making music, they were working on the car. They were, you know what I mean? It wasn't.
I mean, my parents
Did
are
they ever
pretty
fight
chill,
or argue in
but
front of you? Mackenzie and
I
Dom?
think all we could do was like drink.
No, of course
No.
not. No, because then I could be a witness to what she's claiming.
So Angelo.
It sounds like they were always smoking, drinking at each other's houses. She moved
With
into
Angelo-
his
with
house,
Angelo and Dom close.
probably because she had more freedom than at
What's a
her
good phone
parents'
number
house.
for Angelo?
But we saw her mom.
And if you don't mind, would you
Makes sense
be
now.
kind enough to let him know that probably next week sometime we're gonna give him a
It sounds
call.
like we're getting somewhere
Try
here
to set something
with
up.
the family dynamics.
Yeah, hold on. All right, Angelo.
Sorry, it's redacted for like a minute.
And like I said, he could probably, probably just, give you more of the gripes.
Yes, it was on another stream.
I mean, if there was a situation where I was around, Dom would come. to
Emily
me
says my
and
parents
say,
were strict, no
Mackenzie's
shenanigans.
doing this,
Okay.
Mackenzie's doing that. I mean, he just probably, more so than not referred her as being crazy.
I agree, Emily.
Crazy. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my
But
parents weren't
she's
that
another
chill,
girl.
now that I think about it.
I wish I would have just read more into it. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I never would have dreamed in a million years. Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't know if I would be moving in with my boyfriend at 17.
Right.
Maybe. And his family.
Drink, really. You know what I mean? Like I did it. Now, like I said, and then, my concern is I don't know if or when, because of the way those tox screens come out, if or when she would have ingested anything. I still don't think, even if she was high on those mushrooms, that's would have been the case.
At the time of the hospital
I just
or
don't.
crash
I
in
mean,
the
from
hospital,
what
I think she
know,
only had
what
THC in her
read
system.
about, like I said, yes, maybe on acid, that's something more.
Acid's like a jump, right? Weed,
Yeah, I mean,
acid,
here,
ma'am.
people are, you interview clients and talk to them about it and you study it, it's more of a, well, I did read about it the other day too, I forgot, but more of you to like a happier type of a situation. It's supposed to make you more giggly or whatever. I forget the description. You know what I mean? So
What's making this a bit difficult, at least for the two of us, is just looking at the driving on progress. Progress drive is not a straight line, and so the medical theory. I mean, we're eliminating theories at this point. We put, what could a defense lawyer come after us for? So
She was a weak point.
mechanical,
That's right. I'll say.
OVI, or
Old
other
school Europeans. When I went to
suicide.
elementary, we used to get the ruler.
I'm substantially certain.
Yeah, I was a rebel.
Mechanical is out.
When I got older, I was allowed to have friends over and drink, but
report, Judge John Russo saw.
I'm Hispanic, so if I was out, my dad would come looking for me.
I mean, he
Crazy.
looked into some of the data from the car.
Like he was ready to
something was up, and so that's
he would be like, "What are you doing?"
the other defense
You
would
know
be
what I mean?
the
Like,
OVI,
it was
like she
not
was
a
so
pleasant
impaired that she
surprise.
had, but then again, if we know that Davion
I
was
appreciate it
awake
now, though.
because he sent the text at 5:30.
Cat Randall, you're late.
A picture that was sent to him
Yeah.
from a friend.
Oh, Claudia.
Something like that. So we knew he was up. No
I love
indication
you,
from him that there
Claudia.
was something
Good to see
going on.
you.
And as they make the turn,
So happy you're
you can see
here.
on video that there's somebody had a screen up, likely Dom. The phone was on.
Thank you, my beautiful Claudia.
You can see the light.
I appreciate you.
But it doesn't explain, and I'm sure, one day.
Hey, Cat Randall. Hello,
Wow.
Brady.
It doesn't explain those last 2 seconds.
I mean, you've driven down Prospect, 1,000 times?
Thank you for being here, Claudia and Kat
So we all
and
know
Brady.
it has those two curves.
Oh, and don't let her tell you that she is unfamiliar with
No,
progress.
I eliminated that this morning.
Okay, because I'm gonna tell you, when we went for prom pictures, the guy that was going with us, she kept telling me, "Oh, just cut through on progress." She knew, and that was the way that I went to my office. I've not driven down that street since.
Well, I miss you, Claudia. I
She's
hope
at
you're
that
doing
moment
okay.
all the time. How do
I
you
hope we
go
could
to the
talk.
scene where you've just killed 2 people?
She knew progress.
We knew.
progress, and we
You
all
should
know. I mean, it's from the semis. There's curves.
leave a comment with your
If
email.
she was impaired, if she fell asleep, you wouldn't have navigated that. It doesn't make sense.
Not to mention Dom and or Davion
Away.
moved her,
Toss
yanked
me
her,
so much.
did something to,
Yeah, no.
at least
I
offset.
couldn't be doing mushrooms with my parents, not in my parents' house.
If she's sitting there driving and she
They
goes
would
like
freak.
this, someone's gonna grab that wheel. They're gonna say, "Holy shit, she passed out. She fell asleep." She's
Right,
something."
Andre.
Your foot wouldn't stay on the gas. You do that fast.
Right.
So, and I don't want to.
And it would have stopped once she hit the sign.
That's another issue. Yeah.
But the speed at which this all happened.
100 miles per hour. She was drove the car into the brick wall.
She keeps saying that it should have been me. And now she wants to talk shit. Oh man, I know it's different when people die, but she's got nothing but going around.
Okay.
Perfect and wonderful.
Just go in the comments, Claudia, and I'll
Basically
drop
saying I'm a
my new
piece of
email. I have a
shit.
new email.
And he was a great person.
I'll find you.
I mean, so didn't bring up, oh, he's got mental health issues and all that other shit that she wants to.
And the only reason I ask, again, through discovery.
No, I don't care. I've got the exam. Like I said, I mean,
And you're obviously gonna get everything we have at the end of this thing. So
believe me,
you just have to tell me what you want from me.
We would like
the call log.
The call log and text log from, I'd say, the night off. So that 10 p.m. when we knew they went to Brushwood. From 10 p.m. the night
I think
of the
everyone
30th
knew
until the
their
time of the
relationship
crash.
was toxic.
September, I don't know. I wish you would have asked me last month, but they should have.
I don't think that anyone could do anything about it, but
Right. And again, to us, it's just gonna maybe.
this is a horrific crime.
We can't compel people, those who don't want to cooperate, and that's what the prosecutor is going to use his state power for. I'm surprised at how uncooperative kids are in this matter.
Right.
Frankly, considering.
She claims she gets threatened all the time. She claims that, nobody, basically the general position in the community is that she did this on purpose. She's texted me, I wouldn't do this on purpose. It's just, and that was when I didn't ever even bring this up. She's volunteered that. She's volunteered a lot of that.
I think she's getting a lot of that from that 𝗟𝗶𝗸𝗃𝗃.
There's a group of kids who are very much upset. And I know because her mom called and she kept saying, they're saying mean things. Well, I can't go after everybody.
Get off social media, lady.
Right.
The mom was in the hospital. The first thing that she said to me when I called, I was hysterical after finding out. And she says, "Oh, are you calling about Facebook?" If I could have punched her and chucked the phone.
We went there, and her biggest concern was what people are posting on the 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗲 page, and can we intervene? And that was her biggest concern when we walked in.
So, I'm not saying she did it on purpose, but to me, there's
I don't know.
fitting in. We know the evidence.
Some of us think she did it on purpose, right?
All of it. It just does not add up. And so when I inquire about the suicide theory, there's a reason behind it. And I think in talking to Tim.
So were you meaning that Kenzie was trying to kill herself when you talked to Blair? Because Blair made it sound like you were acting like the three of them.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
That he misunderstood.
Blair was, you'll get to listen to the interview. Blair was just not all there. First of all, I don't know if he's, the way he acted, if he's normally that way.
We're going to watch
Very,
that
very
Blair
reserved,
interview
very
too, I
reluctant.
think.
He kept asking for specifics, and I said, well, describe the relationship.
He's very shut off.
What do you mean?
He's a friend,
Well, what
Dom's
were they
best
like
friend.
in public? Were they lovey-dovey? Did they
He's got a
argue?
lawyer though.
Give me more examples. Like he was very much coached into that interview. And his lawyer, when he said,
coach,
when I noticed he wanted to say something, like he mentioned the name of a friend, Dom, one of Dom's good friends from Lakewood, Kyle something, Harper. I was like, well, can I get Kyle's information so I can give him a call? Well, his lawyer steps in, and so there was a lot. He was coached. It's obvious. I've done this long enough to know who's coached and who's genuinely trying to help the investigation.
Everyone's circling the cow. They're protecting themselves at this point.
Why are you protecting yourself though?
I don't know.
If you were just friends with them.
I know the Shirillas have reached out to some of the kids, and including
The Shirillas have reached out to some of the kids.
Landon Turner.
We saw mom
Who's
too.
supposed to be Davion's best friend. And
he won't talk either.
Nope. He's in college. He's playing football, and I called him once, and we set up an interview, and boom, it's been 6 or 7 calls that are, and so I told Tim, we got to talk to him. Rosie Graham, we need to talk to her. She was at the party. She, asked, she had some texts going back and forth. So they were there. The people who were at the party need to answer some questions. Mackenzie's ex-boyfriend.
And what are they worried about? Were they doing drugs or something? They're worried about they're going to incriminate themselves using drugs?
That could be a thing.
Drinking, I guess, a big deal, underage consumption. What the hell? You're not going to go to prison for it.
Right. And we're,
but if you kill someone, yes, you will go to prison.
Ranks. Right. And Dom's friends are the ones coming in here saying this is not right. This
Dom and Davion's friends are, with the exception of Blair, were fairly open.
Yeah.
So
his best friend wasn't very open.
To me, the theory, to me, ultimately, it's Tim's theory. It's not mine. My job is to collect data, the evidence, or the information, and give it to him. And
yeah, but this Burlinghouse, what's the parents' name of this kid? Do you know?
But they were in New York the night of the incident.
Well, the only reason is I'm wondering if it's the same Burlinghouse. There was a Burlinghouse from Middleburg, a whole family. There was a bunch of Burlinghouses. There's like Dale and Jim Burlinghouse. And that family.
I can pull it up, but
I'm just curious because
they've lived in Strong
there's an
for 4 years.
alcohol issue. It doesn't matter that the Burlinghouses were have a history of huge.
I can tell you from the first graduation party, there was no alcohol consumption. Like everybody was like, nope. All 3 of them showed up. They didn't smoke. They didn't drink. They hung out.
I don't believe that.
So
Yeah, which like I said, I couldn't see my son. I mean, who knows? Maybe he would, but like I said, he doesn't drink beer.
he wasn't driving. So even if he
but
was,
right. But I'm just saying, I didn't even wouldn't. That was the first thing. If they want to think about how I acted when the police came with Father Joe, I just said, I'm just shocked that they not much drinkers. Like I just assumed it was an OVI accident in the beginning. Do you know what I mean?
and this is to us, this is what Jason and I are struggling with, and I kind of, I wish I could give you a better answer, but until we look at her blood, it just doesn't look like an OVI crash to me. And so I'm not trying to create a theory from nothing. But the reason I'm
about
asking
over.
about the suicide and the mental health is because when we discussed this case with Tim, just OVI by itself doesn't fit.
Right. Well, it doesn't. And I don't think that Dom and Kenzie would make some sort of suicide pact. And if they did,
No, I don't believe it's a suicide pact. Davion and Dom didn't want to be killed in the accident.
Would have made that
they had
suicide pact.
reservations for her birthday. He had steaks. He had bought.
He wasn't wearing a
There
seatbelt.
wasn't.
Right. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt.
Ooh.
But
seatbelt.
I could put your mind at ease in that Dom was at no point did he reach over based on what our officers saw when they got there.
So like reach
even if
over and
somebody tries to
intentionally
say,
crash the car?
He caused this.
Dom caused it. No way. No way. I mean,
Yeah, I don't believe Dom caused
we have
that.
multiple officers and body cams. No way.
I don't believe that.
And I just wished it. Why wouldn't Davion punch her in the head? And that was the thing. That's all. That was another thing that I told Houston. I said, Dom has never ever laid a hand on that little girl. Okay, she has. You know, he'll walk outside.
Why didn't he just punch her in the head?
Touch. Okay, and I said, I just wish he would have beaten somebody would have punched her in the head, and I wish Davion would have. Somebody. What the hell are you doing?
And you're right, because I've gone through her phone. Like I've just dove into her phone, and I've dove into her and Dom. And when they argue, she was more the antagonizer. He was more like, "Oh, you're breaking up with me? Okay, cool, deuces." Like he was definitely more laid back, and definitely more like, "Don't talk to me. You're mad at me," and then she'd keep going and keep going.
Now,
and we couldn't figure out if that was the teenage girl in her, like obsessed with the older guy type deal, or if it was literally a mental issue that
her driving, her, there's video.
I think it was a mental issue, and she didn't want
high speed, she's
him to be with anyone else.
TikToking and Snapchatting,
filming herself while driving.
Right. And
At high speeds, which is what Blair told me. That's all Blair had to tell you guys was that he knows that she would drive fast and reckless. Okay.
Blair didn't give that information up in the interview. I'm gonna watch that tomorrow.
My son Ange thinks she's absolutely the devil. He thinks that she's
the devil.
We're gonna make it a point to talk to him next week in the evening someday, and just kind of.
It doesn't have to be the evening. I mean, just give him a chance. 1 or 2 o'clock.
Whenever he
just as
wants.
long as
I
it's
mean,
not
Would he
Thursday.
feel more comfortable here or at the house?
I'll ask him. I mean, if he wants me to come with him,
we'll give him a call. We are interested in the relationship, really. But I want you to know deep down why we're asking those questions is
I know,
because
because you want to put together a solid case. Because my son Angela thinks she needs to go to prison. He is absolutely positive, says that she needs to go to prison.
Well, and as well, probably better than we do, what we're battling here with the juvenile court versus 3 days later she's an adult.
Well, I'd like to see who we pull because I'll file an affidavit of prejudice with the Supreme Court because I practiced in most of those courtrooms.
It's one of
I'd
Tim's
rather get
biggest.
some retired judge from Southern Ohio, some Republican judge that would. Not to say that I love our Democratic judges in Cuyahoga, but they're Democratic because that's how they get elected. I mean, do you know what I'm saying?
Between
Cuyahoga,
we get the game.
Depending on the theory that we're able to help put together, the evidence that we're going to put together, if we can force a mandatory bind over as opposed to leaving it up to a judge, that's another thing that we're looking at. So the reason we're looking at all of her social media is to show, although she was 17, she's been living like an adult. That's why I asked you.
Yep.
I would say absolutely, and I would say that for sure her senior
smoking them
year,
blunts and them joints.
I mean, she was at my house every day.
Did she ever have a job?
drinking them bottles.
Oh, yes, I do know this. And my friend
Hey,
Loretta.
hey, Lizzie, good to see you.
She worked at Pulp
Oh, okay.
at the top of the street. She worked at, I think, Taco Bell,
Wasn't it? I think she was
Dunkin'
at
Donuts.
Dunkin'. I know she was,
Okay.
yeah.
They fired her at Dunkin' Donuts.
Mhm.
Now, if you talk to her employers,
Oh no, I love
Loretta went in
Dunkin'
there
Donuts.
and got the coffee or whatever and said, oh, I never knew this girl worked here or whatever, because Loretta goes there every day. She said, oh, that girl was horrible. She was nasty to customers. She was rude. She was all these things.
Okay.
And
Wow.
so she may have been putting on a nice facade for all of us and her innocent stuff. But I think it was Taco Bell, McDonald's or Wendy's. She's gotten fired from 4 or 5 jobs. Okay. And
Oh,
I know for a fact the last
Oh,
one,
no.
because Loretta just went there, you could talk to them, that she was horrible. It was either Pulp or 𝗶𝗸𝗲. I don't know. Is that Pulp still there at the top of the street?
Yeah.
They said that she was rude and nasty to customers too. So I know those 2 places for sure. I don't know.
Well,
about
we
it.
can from
And she
her.
had those. She
And I
had those
know-
jobs when she was like 16.
And I know the Duncan one's right because there's some texts with her and the boss going back and forth. So that one is right on the money. I didn't know about.
Oh,
Paul,
wow.
but we can look into some of those.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's either one of the other fast foods.
Yeah,
Okay, we
yeah,
only got
yeah.
what, McDonald's, Wendy's, or
Right.
Taco Bell.
Right,
So
okay.
one of those 3, but Pulp for sure. It wasn't 𝗶𝗸𝗲, it was Pulp.
Oh, Doodle Mom, I
and-
appreciate
and
you
they
for being
got rid of
here.
her too, for again, customer.
I'm glad you
issues.
just got your
And
phone back.
So
Dom seemed to do pretty good by himself. Did he give her money a lot?
I don't.
Thanks for
There
being
was
here,
an-
Doodle
there
Mom.
was an
Hey, Corso,
argument
good to see you.
about When he
What's up,
threatened her
Corso?
with civil court because she
That was
bought
after that car
something.
thing.
She bought something.
Corso
that
gets
Dom gave her
detention.
money for, but I guess maybe she didn't have
Mm-mm.
permission because it wasn't clear from the
text.
text. But they kind of went back and forth.
That was after that. He said that she needs to give me the money back. And I told him, again, this is the end of July. I know there was something about
Yeah, July
the
2020.
birthday gift, and I remember them fighting. Okay, he was on his phone trying to order her.
They were
purse
always
or
fighting.
something. He was.
It's all we
sitting there,
got
he goes,
from
"Yeah,
yesterday's
she's just
video.
Gotta look at my phone. She's gotta look at my phone and see everything I'm doing." He
She's
goes, "I'm just trying to order a damn birthday gift." Blah blah blah, and she had to look at it and see, and he was all pissed
Where
off
does that
because he
come
couldn't
from?
surprise her with it.
Those
Then the
feelings.
night of that thing,
That
he
behavior.
did bring up the fact that there was money given to her, that he wanted the money back because maybe, and it might have been had to do with not being able to order the purse. Just said, fine, well then take the money that I was gonna pay for the purse or something like that. Angela will maybe be able to clarify that a
Okay.
little bit more. Again,
Was
you
there an
know?
issue between Dom and Mackenzie's mom, Natalie? Threats or anything like that?
We know how we feel about Natalie.
Here she says Dom threatened. He bought me this one outfit yesterday, and now he's saying he's going to take me to civil court. And then you told her not to worry about it. He caters to you. I think he just needs something back.
That's what I asked. It seemed like he catered to her a lot.
Right.
They were
Well,
always
that's what
going
I
out
said.
to
What do you do?
eat.
Yeah, what
They were
do you do for him? Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Was
Right.
my thing. Like, he waits on you hand and full. What are you doing for him? I did start that a lot lately.
Yeah,
So,
no, and you actually have a text in there that I know that said, "What have you done for him?"
Right.
It goes both ways.
And
So you're right on the money.
We
with that.
knew he
Oh,
was
Doodle
taking
Mom, I
care of her
appreciate you.
financially too, supporting her, which just goes along to show. Is there anything you wanted to know about the investigation that maybe we can help shed some light, put your mind at ease? Anything you're curious about?
No, I guess
We
not.
are about a week or 2 out before I think we get the
I
talks
talked
back.
to the emmy's office, and I think they said 2 more weeks, and that was a week and a half ago. So
She didn't get arrested for like
10 to
almost
14.
3
As soon as we get
months
that-
after
I'm
the
gonna tell you, I
crash.
wouldn't be worried about Jimmy McDonald. Jimmy McDonald's a nice guy, hopefully. But
Because they were doing an investigation.
okay, this isn't gonna be used as evidence.
No.
I don't even know the last time the guy's tried a case. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you that. He's Nancy McDonald's brother. I think he would get plea deals. He's a prosecutor. He's just making his money, getting his PRS. I mean, he's not really a go-getter type.
Well, and
So-
especially in something like this, they're going to be searching for a plea deal.
That's exactly what
But we're.
Well, thank
She
you very
got
much for
15.
coming in. We appreciate it.
Okay. So that was Dominic's mom, who we saw when she found out about the death, the body cam footage. Here is Dominic and Davion. We finished. We have one more live, I think. We're going to do one more interview, Chris, and then I want to interview watch the interview for one of the friends, and then the mom of Davion, because we've watched a lot of Dominic's family members, but I feel like we should watch Davion's as well. So we'll probably be back with that tomorrow night. We're going to finish Jared case, and then I have 4 new cases that I will be talking about this week. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you guys have a good night. I have another live scheduled tonight, but it's late, and I feel like a lot of you probably need to go to bed, or no? Mommy's sending you to bed. No, I might come back. I have Jamie calls scheduled for tonight, but we'll see. I'll see you in a little bit, maybe. If not, I'll see you tomorrow night. I appreciate you. I love you, my 𝗍𝗲. Thank you for being here. My mods, shout out to all my mods. I love you all the chatters, all the viewers, all my friends, etc. I'm already in bed. Exactly. I need to get in bed. I feel like I'm tired. But Jamie calls are so good. So we'll see. We'll see. But I appreciate you guys for being here tonight. Make sure you hit that like button. My playlist should be up tonight, and you can watch all of the cases in order, especially this one, the Mackenzie Shirilla case. So again, thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys all, and I hope you have a good night if I don't see you back tonight. Bye.
Thank you.